Alrighty, how's it going, Seth and Flame? Not gonna stall too long today because I want to make sure I have enough time to get to the story, but
設備の維持管理状況は良好なようだ。昔々道に迷った小さな雪だるまがいました。この話
kills.
聞いたことありますか？
Where's with these cars, man? Maxpot Nasty is pretty sweet though. Holy fuck, that's 77. I'm like, why the fuck is this so loud? Oops. And nobody needs what I have. Bum.
旅を続けましょうか。こんにちは。はいはーい。
Hi, Cruz.
医師見習いのハイビスカスです。みんな。
Okay. Nope. 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 Okay, we tried. GG. Oh, you got one! Let's fucking go! Huge! Oh my god, we're so back. Oh my god, we need one more Friston and 3 more Confess. Holy fuck. That's actually so close. I'll take that. Huge. Okay. I'll just say this. You guys are never fucking reading this story. Nothing happens. It might be a classic, like, nothing happens until where I am in the story and then shit starts going down, but bro, this story, it's just not it, bro. So you can leave if you want, but I'm just telling you, you're never fucking reading it. So if you want to stay around for, like, the cool things that happen at the end, you might as well, but, like, I would never recommend anybody read this event. I would just tell you what happens. And what happens is is what the summary of the event is, so. Dude, I hate questing, man. If you just didn't have to run around so much, it wouldn't be as bad, but like, fuck, dude, you just have to run around so much. Like, though I'm doing the desert treasure stuff, has you going through the wilderness all the time, I'm like, bro, just stop fucking sending me to the wilderness. I'm so over it. Alright. So what happened last time? Like, the fair thing is going on, hasn't started yet, and then the giant tree thing showed up, and then the Maylanders came. That's it. That's the story. Which one do we leave off on? Question. I think this is the last one I read. Why is it so warm in here today? Holy fuck. Turn my heat up. My heat down more. Was that the last thing? I don't think we read this one. Yeah, so we'll start with You Are 6. Intersecting Roots. Pretty sure this is where we left off. Yeah, I don't remember this. Okay. Whoa! I'm like, I can't hear anything. There's no music playing, that's why. I forgot to change the keybinds. Fuck. The wind blows on the leaves in the young banshee's hand and voices fall from the breeze. One more story. How about the tale of the wandering metal hero? He even graced our valley once. In fact, the mist that shrouds Mist Lake was actually blown from his big pipe. His big what now? Retract your feather horns like this and you can shield your eyes. So we can use them as eye masks to sleep during the day? No, of course not. This is so you can easily weave your tears into elegies at funerals. Another recording ends and the young banshee keeps her leaves in a chest pocket, yet her gaze suddenly turns wary. Eavesdrop again and I'll throw you into the concrete mixer. Oh my god, she's back. Was that a banshee's incantation? Yes. You've journeyed thousands of miles from Kazdel to Columbia, yet you record your people's voices to keep by your side, listening to them over and over. Do we get rid of the cement one? I feel like we should have it. What's Kristen doing there? Oh god, spoilers! You want to know? It's a flashback. Brother. You journey thousands of miles from Kazdel to Columbia. Yet you record your people's voices to keep by your side, listening to them over and over. Is homesickness hard for you to comprehend? No, but it's rare I find someone concentrating on nostalgia the same way she concentrates on a blueprint. You're trying to decipher the Banshee's language and behavior. Why? To find a new path to solve your entire race's plight that has endured for millennia? Yeah. I'm not that arrogant. I only hope to take a burden off the shoulders of a particularly worried individual. I see, though that's pretty much what I just said. So, any breakthroughs? I'm not in that much of a rush. It sounds as if you replayed that countless times over. Soaking in the same old corpus until you drown, unable to develop a new language. The limits of vision and thought drown us in the pool of common sense, and then everything turns into so-called destiny. I thought you left Kazdel knowing this. Erasing those recordings is a cruel suggestion. It's rational. Hello, I'm Kristen, Control of Rhine Lab. Nasty. The talented Banshee, freshly recruited by Starlight Construction Co. who completes projects 3 times faster than regular engineers, provoking rumors of you imbuing witchcraft into blueprints. We're currently establishing an engineering department at Ryan Lab. Might you be interested? I happened to overhear your chat with the boss yesterday. Ryan Lab is a biotech company, yes? Look up, Nasty. Do you see those foul beasts in the morning stars behind them? I'm only looking for some kind of power to break through the sky. The sky? Per your prior suggestion, if you wish to accomplish something that exceeds the borders of common sense, then perhaps the power you need doesn't come from our side. Ryan Lab should be looking into a scientific investigation department instead. A rational suggestion. Can I take this as the first proposal fielded by our director of engineering? Damn, that's how it all started. Okay, we're fucking back here. Miss Lunnery? I thought you'd send me straight to the hearing, or perhaps a more confidential cell, but here we are waiting for a cable car at the ropeway station. Are we to visit the levitation layer next? Your visitor has indeed arranged for that. Long time no see, Nasty. So it was you. I just got here. What a fine place it is. I still have half the place to see. Shall we have a look together? Alright. Yeah, I had a feeling Tin Man would be showing up at some point. Why is it raining only in the area we just passed through? Cloud projections, thanks to a sky simulator system developed by Rankwood. Yeah, Rankwood. Wait 5 minutes and you can even enjoy an aurora. A century ago, that fellow known today as the father of projections once lamented to me on a film set, wondering when we could actually shoot a film up in the sky. Sky fever has truly set the revolutionary gears of film tech in motion. Quite an atmosphere here, Nasty. Personally, I take civilization's rapid developments as commonplace happenings, and now I can't help but be moved by the Colombians' creativity. It's hard to believe you'd still be in the mood for fun and games. According to the laws drawn up for Propeller Paradise, relevant authorities must call for a hearing within 12 hours of an emergency event happening, investigate the matter, and notify the public. Gordon barged into Ryan Labs' vivarium, wrecked our research projects, and exposed his shady dealings to public scrutiny. Evidence and testimonies provide. That's like the whole event right there. Like, what is going to happen for the next 3 no's? I don't understand. Evidence and testimonies provided were complete and accurate. Your people arrived quickly, yet you've been dragging your feet to begin this hearing. This is no procrastination, Nasty. 2 years ago, the Colombians never thought they'd fight the clouds for the right to dwell above. But now, PP has become the hottest topic in all of Colombia. Its name tops the special plate registry records. Take a moment to ride the cable car as it circles around. Look at the facilities around you and at the company representatives clogging the entrance to the registration center. All of this already tells us what sort of judgment the hearing will produce, no? PP. You get it? Paradise, representing a zealous ambition to fly up high into the skies, while Propeller has an exact implication too. There's no stopping. A smuggling network exposed, revealed to be led by the chief executive involving nearly 100 companies, numerous irregularities found in the park's research work over the past 6 months. Once we begin investigating, the exhibition will have to be cancelled. You're right, Nasty. The hearing must convene, and everything that's happened must be accounted for. But that's all they need, an account. And Ryan Lab is the most appropriate party to provide that. After all, this sky fever began that night in Treemounts. Anyone could believe Ryan Lab will do something like this again. Never the silent technician connecting nothing but cables that your peers say you are. Though this isn't exactly a false accusation against Ryan Lab now, is it? Your mystery tree still floats in the sky. Putting aside your botanical unit and other excuses, how are you going to explain that? It sounds like I don't even have to attend the hearing anymore. You've already made up your mind after all. I'm sorry, Nasty. I'm not sure of the exact time frame, but I'll go home eventually. Someone's waiting for me. Before that happens, Ryan Lab can become one of the stops on your journey. It doesn't matter if you want to develop a new language, create a new convolus, or change the so-called fate of your clan. No one will get in the way of your goals. On the contrary, Ryan Lab will fight for everything you need. After all, we have many like you. And the catch, or perhaps I should ask, the cost. Nasty, I don't ask company employees to view Ryan Lab's operations as some sort of grand undertaking worthy of personal sacrifice. If we want to accomplish the unprecedented, we are already on a path strewn with enough doubt and loss. So we must never stop. Ever. I consent to join Ryan Lab then. Chills. Seeing as we're still on the cable car, I'm sure there's room for discussion. The hearing must take place, and everything has to be accounted for, but it's merely an accounting. All of Columbia knows about the Horizon Art project from 2 years ago. Kristen stole funding from the DoD, but Ryan Lab as a whole was not fully involved, though I was certainly her accomplice. Hitting the blame of endangering the entire park on a company versus an individual has entirely different implications, Nasty. Are you willing to sacrifice yourself like this for Ryan Lab? Sacrifice? Kristen and I aren't fans of the word. Everything has a price. This is what life in the convalescent Casdell taught me. There's no way I'll willingly take the blame for one of Maylander's plans. I won't make it hard for the other Ryan Labbers. Nor that tree, for that matter. Do as you wish with the device, but let my assistant take the data, since the research isn't finished. He knows nothing about my project, so don't worry about him tampering with it. We're here. The agents of the station will escort you where you should go. Right, there's something else. When I returned to Casdell, I went to the convolus. Vela is here, I already know. I'd planned to hurry to find her before I went to the hearing. Vela's in the park. Heh, Mercia, so I see. I'll send someone to look after my old friend. Thanks. The hearing on the sudden accident on propeller on PP has just concluded. Suspect Nasty Laundry abused her position as the head of Park's engineering department to conduct unauthorized experimental projects, and this nearly led to a disaster. On the night of the incident, the suspect attacked Gordon Tannen, the park's chief executive, in an attempt to cover up her crime with an unidentified tree-shaped device. According to Mr. Tannen's testimony, the suspect not only deliberately tried to harm him, but she also abused her engineering privileges to tamper with exhibits. She forced her subordinates to conduct illegal tests, deliberately suppressed rival tech companies, and forced dozens of understanding companies to leave the park. Now, with the ATAO's backing, the innocent corporations implicated in this incident have returned to PP and will continue to contribute to Columbia's aerial operations. Wait, what the fuck? That's not how that happened at all. This is bullshit. The suspect, Nasty Lunnery, is currently in custody after confessing to her crimes. She will be sent to the DC courts to face justice. From now on, PP operations will be overseen by Gordon Tannen and Gustav, supervised by the Maylander Emergency Management Council. Where's my fucking justice? The highly anticipated Air Expo Columbia will not be affected whatsoever. Madame Vela, was that too loud? My apologies. Nasty. What happened to her? Don't you mind that, madame. Let your final memory of Director Lunnery be when you saw her last night. The young agent places a hand on the old projector and gently turns its dials, as if manipulating delicate strings of memories. Maylander Emergency Management Council intervenes in all Columbian incidents in the name of monitoring the emergency measures of government agencies. For incidents, produce the easiest facts to manipulate? Oh, I see. The Tin Man always jokes about how the Council's methods are more extensive than Mama John's stock list, and this of course includes Mercia's Originum Arts. Holy fuck, she can erase memories? Okay, maybe that's why she's not playable. What the fuck? She can erase memories? That's pretty fucking OP. Mercia has done the same actions hundreds, thousands of times, but now her hand turning the dial freezes up. No, at the very least, I shouldn't do this to an old woman with already fading memories. Besides, the facts have been tampered with enough today. A late hearing, satisfied corporate reps, my fellow agents infiltrating the crowd. What exactly is the Tin Man's mission this time? The more people on patrol, the less I can do for you. It's only a matter of time before he discovers my deception. But if you can't stop worrying over Director Lunnery, I'll figure out a way. Nasty, my daughter, I'm sorry. It was I who left you homeless. Where the torches are lit, the myriad souls shall be. Bones to bones, souls to souls. Let's conclude the funeral here, Vela. Our people have returned to the courtyard and night is falling. 3 months, Demoy spent 3 whole months in the wooden hut near the roosting tree before death finally came. I've done all I could, but I could not alleviate the pain of slowly turning into an empty husk. She was never the sorrowful sort. The reed beds along the lake shore would sway to the sound of her laughter. Every pleasant memory from the past 2 centuries vanished completely. Within the first 3 days after she moved into the wooden hut, I couldn't retrieve them as much as I wanted to. In those final 3 months, as her remaining memories abandoned her, all she could do was force out broken, hoarse whispers from her throat. In her 2 centuries of life, she certainly knew laughter in full measure, at least. But why did she have to end up meeting death in agony? In these 200 years since we settled in the Convolus, every banshee that has left us has experienced a long and painful period of losing her memory before death. A cruel joke, simply put. To the departed, banshees are the last ones to remember their existence. It is not in our nature to forget, but to remember. Forgetting is indeed a new phenomenon of the last 2 centuries. You shouldn't blame yourself for a chronic disease we have yet to comprehend. A chronic disease or a cost. Every time, every person without fail first loses her memories of life in the Convolus, as if the life we created was mere stuffing made of cotton, a substitute that replaced the life we were originally born to live, but in the end, when it decays completely with time, the people it once filled are left as empty husks. Is that not what we have always wanted to do? To create a different life for the Banshees, the Sarkaz, a life accompanied by song and pastry, rather than war and death? I fucking love pastries. Remember what Her Highness promised us? As we deal with all of this in the Convolus, she, as the King of Sarkaz, will guide our people to bid farewell to our omnipresent, vengeful, and bloodthirsty nature. You personally told me that Her Highness has turned to Origin for answers, along with that dame. I had a few more conversations with Her Highness over that. After that, never forgot our original dream. She only changed to a more decisive method to fulfill her promise. If the day comes where her flowers can cover the land, all the more we Sarkaz will need a new way of life. I only hope the Convolus will hold on until then. The roosting tree is still withering. Its roots have long since rotted. Neither the children of soil and stones, witchcraft, nor my own incantations have been of any effect. I'm sure there's a future for our roosting tree. I only hope you'll be there to see it. These past 3 months, have you gotten even a single night's sleep as you kept Demoy company? Our moments of peace were thanks to— who the fuck is Demoy, bro? We're in section 6, we're just dropping new names, like what? Our moments of peace were thanks to your soothing incantations, that she could gain respite from listening to the boats on Mist Lake. But what about you? Now that Demoy is gone, the only Banshee left who experienced the war 2 centuries ago are you and me. Only I can pay the price. What about the children? Is that why you sent Afanel to Kazdel? The Banshee's future should be left to the children. Whether our decision was right or wrong, we shouldn't let the children pay for it. Well, it's kind of interesting that Logos and kind of interesting, Logos and Nasty are the quote-unquote children of the last people remembering the war. Is that why you didn't let Nasty join in the funeral rites this time? And good that I didn't. If the Convolus life is but a fragile existence made of cotton stuffing, then Nasty grew up fighting for her life in Kazdel. To her, death is nothing but iridium crystals sprouting all over the ground. Gratitude towards death will spread doubts to the other children. She's a bright mind. I'm sure she'll understand your intention. I remember when she wanted to build a hut of her own by the roosting tree, though in the end you had her build in the Mist Apple Hope Woods. You hardly bring her to the courtyard gatherings, nor do you allow her to formally study incantations and elegies. How do you explain all that to her? I found the children too loud, so as the custodian, I had to move further away to find some peace and quiet. She saw how busy I was. And she believed it? At least she said nothing. Alright, Locker Moline. You should go. And you? I wish to stay a while longer. You've sung this elegy long enough. I don't know what else I can do. The convalescence is headed towards decay, and beyond it, the souls left homeless by my mistakes can only weep. You can still go back and keep Nasty company, at least. As a mother, we might not be able to pay the cost of always shutting our children out. You close the door only to hide cruel truths, but to the child, you're pushing her away. These days, I've been getting the feeling that Nasty will leave. Oh, I thought that was fucking, what was his mom for a second, but it's Mael or Vela. I never thought the day would come so soon. Yes, it is an abrupt decision. I was like, don't tell me we get this visual for like one panel. A flimsy boat drifts downstream out of the valley, propelled by an old banshee's incantations. Reeds sway as thin mist veils the fallen leaves on the lake's surface. With the season indiscernible, the farewell is bereft of a seasonal undertone. I had hoped for you to spread the rest of your life peacefully in the convalescence. It was my mistake, not finding you earlier than I did. You'd already gone through so much suffering. When I decided to bring you back here, I should have been responsible for you, but in the end, please forgive my conflicted heart, Nasty. I'm not leaving because of you, Vela. At least not for the reason you think. Unlike those children, you know how Casdell is even now. The living still fight in the market, teeming with the stench of rust and excrement, while crystals sprout from the dead like untended weeds. It does not hold the answer I want. But what is your question in the first place? Where are you planning to go? I don't know. Maybe I'll use the half-baked incantations I picked up from you, cast a few stones at the valley's entrance, and let them decide a direction for me. Lithanian, Laterano, Columbia? I heard those strange names when wandering in Casdell. Those places. They're very far. So? Take care, child. Eat well. After a long silence, Vela only manages one sentence. The old banshee who has traveled far and wide, bearing word of demise, only realizes now how unfamiliar those places sound to her. Her adopted daughter is about to embark on a journey. She has no idea how it will end or what sort of advice to impart. As the boat gently glides by the murmur of water, Nasty does not turn around. Farewell, Mother. Okay. We keep going. Holy fucking loud. Attention all company representatives and testers. BP will link up with DC in 2 hours. The park's broadcast will begin once you're in range of the inner city net. Please make sure your exhibits are all functioning optimally. Air Expo Columbia is about to begin. Look, that's Tower Mountain's Fin Beast airship. I heard they made a lot of last-minute modifications and greatly improved its heat resistance. And that solar-powered hover kitchen kit, with a power source that works even beyond the star pod. I've been curious ever since I first read the brochure. The fuck? Whoa! Good thing you only ever hit the window rail instead of getting your whole head stuck in there. The expo's about to begin. Aren't you nervous at all? Relax. Professionals always have an escape plan ready. I'll get you out when the time's right. You want to leave already? No, sir. Of course not. Whatever, I'm just here to hand over some stuff. That's a lot of papers. Are these records and investigation forms? And the name on them. Burn Barn? Vandalizing public property, theft of cultural relics, trespassing, impersonating a guide. Why is a little indie guide worth your trouble to scrutinize 5 years of work history? We just need your signature down here, and you'll spend the rest of your life in jail, introducing folks to handcuffs and shackles. What? Why? Yo, how's it going, Albert? What do you want? The expo's about to begin, but we need more hands on deck. We can't afford to lock up the park's only 2 guides. That would waste time and resources. There are too many records with your name on them, and you're connected to nasty Lunnery. You've decided to threaten me? Stay in line, and this is a chance to wipe your rap sheets clean, you know? Seems like I don't have a choice. Save your thanks for Gustav. He was the one who proposed it to the Maylander. This is going to be the Memc. To the Memc. The 2 of you would be missing out on this expo, making the beginning of a new era without him. I'm sure you heard the broadcast, too. Before the park plate drives into the inner city Nets range and begins the live stream, make sure you're fully prepared to introduce the future to every Colombian out there. I get it. I'll finish all the studio work and won't leave the park before the expo ends. Good deal. Then come on out, you 2. Time to get to work. It's the president. On behalf of all Lithuanians, I express my most sincere congratulations for the upcoming Air Expo Colombia to be held on the experimental PP. Take a guess who signed it in the end. Conductor of the Guldenez, Gezats, Guardian of the 9 Crees. Anyway, one with the string of titles neither of us could pronounce. The Kaiserin. The late Maylander Senior always said, those with a keen sense for politics never lose it, and seems that holds true. Miss Wilson. Oh, it's her! Pog. I'd rather keep a keen sense for wine tasting, honestly. Laterano took half a century to hold their Summit of Nations, an event you could say was the largest diplomatic event on Terra in nearly 2 centuries, yet Lithuanian only sent over a few insignificant dukes as delegates. But our tiny Air Expo Colombia has got a personal letter of congratulations from the Kaiserin. Mr. Vice President, BP has sent over a gift, a bunch of balloons in the shape of the president, most of which are already decorating the hallways. Thank you, Pavard. Perhaps you could return the Kaiserin's wishes with a balloon like that one? And let the guest watcher and Spirecaster spend 3 days carefully dismantling it into rubber scrap? It seems to be an average balloon for decorative purpose. I'm sure that is no longer the case since the letter was penned by the Kaiserin. I'll transform into the most cutting-edge military tech, an aerial bomb disguised as a balloon sent floating into another country's airspace. And how many congratulations like that have you received? Let's see. Victorian Grand Dukes, the Ursine Speaker, the Grand Knight of Casimirs. I'll run out of fingers to count on. The VP before me spent 4 years worrying about immigration and tariffs, but me? Impregnable cities got captured, a never-changing sky got ripped open, and a long, silent ocean began to speak. Munka. After all that, the core nations unanimously decided balloons are always aerial bombs in disguise. And what about us? Oh, this balloon of ours can't even fly. Before the balloons were sent over, the flammable hydrogen got replaced with regular air, for safety reasons, of course. How safe and careful we Colombians are. This sounds like a serious matter of national security. You're discussing it with the retiree. Inside the state building, the finest reception hall in all of DC even. It's hard to imagine retirement making things any different for Jara Booker Wilson. My hospitality is hardly befitting the once eternally shining star, or Ryan Lab's former director of HR. These days, people seem more willing to be moved by a legend or miracle than by politics or promise. Even the most rational congressmen are no exception. If you're referring to the few meetings I had with Congressman Wayne, I believe you already expressed your gratitude with those unique souvenirs from Karag. That was just a personal token of gratitude. Besides, I later realized the scientists at the observation station must have sent you something similar before. If you show up and give the right people the chance to put hydrogen back onto Columbia's balloons, I'm sure I won't be the only one in line to thank you. To my understanding, the most suitable person to do it would be those who made the balloon in the first place. I've stepped in on their behalf quite a few times. Researchers are as sincere as children. I can never bear to see their hopes dashed. You're right, their retirement has made no difference to me whatsoever, though. Of course, we all know how important Rhine is to you. Look, PP, you don't even need binoculars to see it anymore. We need only wait to see what they'll turn Columbia's balloons into. Look, this high-altitude adaptive balloon in the shape of the president is one of our hot souvenirs. A thin film on the balloon surface automatically adjusts its molecular structure according to the environment so it won't explode, even if it collides with the barrier. Think about it, miss. Just how many balloons could we fit under the barrier? I remember agents are required to pass a university-level physics fundamentals exam. Isn't this park's purpose to push the boundaries of physics itself? Are you implying those samples and snacks on you are for research purposes? Nom nom. Just for disguise purposes, I'm about to buy some fresh cotton candy planets over at Platform 4. A small vacuum chamber that can simulate the birth and development of Terra. Don't you think it's romantic? At least, that's less boring than having to transport a special someone. Special? You mean that Banshee? Yeah, the one you were in charge of before. So the Tin Man already knew. He said you had an urgent mission to handle, so we'll take over evacuating the special individual. Wait, what the fuck? So the testers were Maylander people too? Wait, so the Maylander group knew that they were doing illegal stuff here? What the fuck? Vela is in bad shape. You'll have to be very careful. I know an old Banshee has to be skilled in witchcraft, no? We'll set up cognitive interference detectors to make sure nothing goes awry. Cognitive interference? She's already being tormented by her shattered memories. Man, where are my colleagues at? We have to evacuate all park personnel from the levitation layer in the next half hour, or I won't get to buy any souvenirs. This is the last chance we'll get to see some weird stuff. I think you should go buy your cotton candy planets. They won't be coming. Huh? At the ropeway station? Right, I gotta go to Platform 4. I'll miss out on the cotton candy. Wait, did she just mindfuck that guy? What the hell? Madame Dela, my apologies. I only bought you 30 minutes. Act on your desires. You're free. The door is open, guiding me home. But where is Nasty? See if I get this right the first time. There's still an hour before. No. There's still. Bro, how do I forget how to do this accent every single time? Howdy, partner. I'm just gonna do that. There's still an hour before the No, why the fuck did I just say it the same way? Howdy, partner. There's still an hour. Oh, fuck. Bro, how is this so difficult? I need like a phrase that I can get like back into character with. Dawn 2. Okay, there we go. There's still an hour before the broadcast begins. Which necktie should I wear? Is Gustav still deciding which one will make the opening speech? Drag it out any longer, we'll have no time to prepare the script. An hour won't be enough to list all my countless contributions to the park. There are also that many organizations and departments to thank for all the help they've given me. They deserve the recognition. Everything will go as planned, surely. What am I thinking? We may not get along, but there's no way he'll side with a Karanta. He's only known for a few days. Even at the end, Gustav never changes, using every trick up his sleeve to keep his lackeys in line, just to make them do as they're told. We're like a bunch of kids, getting all nervous over a little prize we deserve. How come 5-4 is not back yet? Wasn't it supposed to just check the office for any news? Who's that? A letter? I knew it. After hesitating for so long, he settles on the obvious choice. Me! How much effort did I put in to snatch the opportunity transfer here? How much did I have to finagle to climb the ladder for my lowly admin job in 6 months? I'm the chief executive of PP. I'm the only one who can front it. Oh, he even wrote a speech for me? That sly old fox never leaves anything to chance. My fellow Colombians, I am Gordon Tan, the chief executive of PP. I'm sure I've kept you waiting in front of your screens for some time now. Now it is with a heavy heart that I announce the official cancellation of Air Expo Colombia. A major accident occurred in the park, and as the one in charge of the place, I bear an undeniable responsibility for this. Wait, an accident? Is this a mistake? This is a public apology. Alert! Patrol complete! Letter not obtained! Part of the path has been blocked by a group of Terrans! Based on their travel route, they were previously headed towards the levitation layer's experiment zone. At the same time, detected several high-powered original products on the move, bearing cargo identification tags. They belong to Gordon Tannen. My tags? An apology letter and the news brought back by 5-4. This is no mischievous prophecy, but indisputable reality. Shock, panic, anger, countless emotions fill Gordon's chest. Is Gustav about to cause an accident? On PP, the expo, all of Colombia has been eagerly waiting to see? For what reason? When did he begin planning this? What sort of pawn is Gordon Tannen to him? Apology, amends. Gordon is all too familiar with these words, ostracized by his colleagues and driven by his eccentric hobby. He was always violating the rules. The thin sheet of paper before him reflects the culmination of his work over the past 7 years. He wrote hundreds of self-reflection letters during his time at ATAO. He remembers every single time Gustav would demand an apology from him, and how he slid from defiance to compromise. The reward he deserved, the things he begged Gustav for like a child, were accusations against him all the time, or all along. Did you get the speech, Tannen? So, can you do it? His carefully chosen necktie tightens like a torture device. All I have to do is do as I'm told. True. Alright, on to 7 we go. Platform 3 secondary patrol complete. Target pod in position. No suspicious individuals detected. There's no one else on this little platform but us. What's a stitch on your end? 4 pod's engines have undergone breakpoint testing. The park's about to enter the inner city net's range. Remember, the official line to the public. The gathering is only temporary, and they can all return to their respective exhibit areas once the broadcast intro segment is done. Understood. You sure everyone's gone on your end? The Tin Man stressed we had to make sure all the park personnel are safely evacuated before we send the operation signal. The main road was sealed off an hour ago. The support platform's emergency jump pads are all shut. The cable car routes were all diverted to only go in one direction last night. No one's been able to get in. Better play it safe. Roleplay station needs backup. That Ryan research assistant is blocking the access hub with a group of testers and it's hard to get around them. Go back them up. It's crucial we time this right. Every prep step has to be complete before the broadcast begins. What was that? Look over here. A soda bottle cap. Probably rolled off the table from the floating pod shaking. Probably nothing. Let's go. Whew. Mr. Aspen, what on earth is your obsession with that balloon? The couch is small enough without you hanging onto that I almost got squished flat. I'm sorry, Miss Barn, but I begged you to take me here just for this balloon. You have no idea how much effort it took slipping right out from under their noses and then getting you here. Really sorry about that. Could you hand me the toolbox from the closet? The evacuation announcement came so suddenly, I didn't have the time to make sure the floating pods would be alright during the stream. You want the lucky Sisty Beast on display at the expo that badly? Ignoring a public hearing, signing a temp contract with a tour guide with multiple charges under her belt, and helping her escape park to security just so you can have her bring you back to a sealed off levitation layer. You guys, all nuts for the sky. I'm drowning in debt here. The only way to clear it is to have the lucky Sisty Beast at the show and draw in investors. Yeah, the sky will answer every future seeker and all that jazz. PP slogan is plastered all over the place. Trash can lids in the slums included. Even if it's blind faith, I'm not going to give up now after coming this far. Whew. Nothing wrong with the components. They'll last till the show ends. Let's go. Was the door locked? Wait, did you hear that? I did. Don't tell me something's really up with my product. No, I don't mean the exhibit. From under our feet? Grrr. Why isn't the line moving? Drag this out any longer, the broadcast is gonna start. Calm down, Maylander guys are on their way to handle it. They've got someone surrounded. It seems like a Ryan lab researcher, judging by the uniform. Let me through. The tree's hard drive and motherboard haven't been removed yet. Don't push your luck. Allowing the Ryan tree at the expo has been our biggest concession to Ryan Lab. We've even been so generous as to let you copy the data for future research. What more do you want? I just need 5 minutes. I promise I won't pull any tricks either. Hasn't the ATAO's science consultant issued a report on the tree? Completely harmless. No. All levitation layer personnel are to return to the ground to ensure the exhibits are finalized, and only return after the opening speech. Besides, the uplink cable cars aren't operating now. There's no way you can reach the Rhine tree. It's at the highest point in the park. I didn't realize how much effort Director Lunnery put into this experiment until I saw the core code, and now I remember how she never abandoned her dreams for the sky. Even if it only saves a little backtracking time later, I want to help her somehow. You have to let me through. Mr. Jagger, one more move and we'll have to resort to more special methods. Wait, the tree looks strange. You used the same excuse 10 minutes ago. No, it looks really weird. Look for yourself. The expo's about to open with the Colombian sun shining brightly. The crowd follows Sky's finger and spots a dazzling tree. The branches wrapped in special material should have been completely still like tiny insects trapped in resin. However, right here and now under the sunlight, the broken branches seem to glow. Green. The tree's green now? Organic materials don't photosynthesize. The park handbook states clearly it is common for exhibits to transform in high altitude environments. Rhine stuff doesn't do that. It doesn't give you an excuse to go back up there. Going up there won't solve the problem. I have no idea what exactly is going on, but I know who does. Huh? He just left that easily? Levitation layer, 11 main platforms and 20 support platforms have been inspected. Cameras and backup detonators have been installed in 9 similar levitation pods, which will crash one by one when activated. Personnel evacuation is complete. Scouts have done multiple calculations of the fallout curve based on the current wind direction and force, and have confirmed falling debris will not reach the square serving as the evacuation spot. All areas progressing well. Gustav sends word from the Cloud Restaurant's cockpit that PP will be within DC intercity net range in 5 minutes. Your orders, sir? Anyone seen those 2 newbies from Bravo? The ones responsible for that Banshee? Positioning shows they're still on Platform 3. That's not on the plan's operation range. Should we send someone to check it out? Seems like their mission's been taken over. Platform 3 is far from the detonation target, so don't worry about that. I'll handle it later. All teams, sync chronos. Phase 2 begins now. The jail cell window crops the sky into a tiny square. The ordinary yet mysterious tree, centerpiece of Nasty's research in Ryan Lab's core project, is now hidden from her view by strangely clothed figures and floating balloons. In a few minutes, the expo broadcast will begin, without Nasty's involvement. Her bone pen and mechanical device were seized earlier, so all she needs to do now is to play the role of a helpless sinner. If Mule sees we're here, she'd probably summon 8 water clones to scold her for being silly, but Nasty does not regret her decision, though there is one woman on her mind. Vela leaving the convalesce has always left her uneasy. If the chance came... Who's that? Director Lunnery, you have to follow me to the tree platform. You're supposed to be keeping the device data and core code safe. What are you doing here? But the tree is growing now. Growing? That's impossible. So that's not supposed to happen. If it affects the levitation module, it'll definitely be dangerous to anyone on the ground. The levitation module runs independently, with a backup power supply that can last for 5 days. But the abnormality you mentioned, the only way to find out why it's happening is to go inside the tree. Come with me, Director. The security cameras have been rigged with a delayed feed that should buy us at least 20 minutes. I'm not sure why, but the cell's smart locks are unlocked, so now's... That's because the chief executive of PP opened them for you. Gordon? What's all that on you? A DYI high-altitude face shield, modified propellers, and a second-hand insulated spacesuit? Did you loot them from the park's scrap and recycle plan? Your distorted testimony at the hearing is still up on the park's bulletin board, but now you're helping us escape? Don't tell me you've had a sudden attack of conscience. Nasty, I got your bone pen defenses here. Sorry about the hearing. I'd rather stand in the defendant's dock with you than recite that prepared speech. After all, confiscated devices were my goods anyway, so I'll take the blame for that. Who are you and what have you done with Gordon Tannen? What happened? My dear citizens of DC and those watching this live broadcast, it is my honor to introduce PP, an experimental park that is sure to leave its mark on Colombian history. We don't have much time. Nasty, you've done deals with Gustav. I'm sure you won't doubt the intel I'm about to hand over. Your old boss is planning something with Maylander, correct? You're even sharper than I thought. Seeing the park's chief executive here when he's supposed to be making a speech in half an hour is proof enough. Friends, look out your windows, up at the sky. No amount of marketing bluster can compare to what you'll see with your own eyes, where the future among the clouds is waiting for you. If they want to can the expo with an accident, I'll kill the future of PP, though I have no idea exactly what their plan is. If Maylander's involved, they'll move fast. What was that? God, am I seeing things? Something's falling from the levitation layer. Is that the lucky Sisty Beast floating pod? No, there's more. 3, 4, is this part of the opening ceremony? They didn't mention this in the script. If they really come crashing down... Wait, the pod stopped falling? As if something's gripping them firmly. Firmly grip... Huh? What was that? Oh, it seems the tech company's prepared a surprise that even got me. We've just witnessed PP's breakthrough in the field of levitation, with no need for papers or data. And this is only just the beginning. No way, there's no emergency stop module, even in ongoing projects. That could have done that. Sky, your field measurements are more precise. Where were the falling pods supposed to land? From visual estimates, they would have probably crashed into Platform 2, blocking the connecting lower layer tunnel. That's the only path we can take to the tree. Gordon, I accept your apology, but I have no time for your plans. That miracle with no stroke of luck might have something to do with you and your invention? Is that a threat? Just my intuitive judgment on all rule breaking. I don't need your help with Gustav. I do need a bargaining chip to make sure PP stays afloat when everything's gone and dusted. So my tree. Letting you handle something only you know how to handle is part of my plan. Got it. Ryan Lab stuff will cooperate with you. However, whatever it is you're planning to do, go to the tree at the first sign of danger, and I'll come get you. Everything ready, 5-4? Preparations complete. Let's go. I have an opening speech to make. Pretty sure that was the before, right? What's going on? The jammer and our backup detonators aren't working? Transmitted signal shows the devices are all activated, but the 9 target pod's core engines have stopped. Somehow the received signals are all messed up. Even pods without transmitters attached are sending signals. Get a team to investigate this. Have them move all traces of our work from earlier and retrieve the transmitters. Captain, that's equivalent to calling the operation a failure. You forget how we do things in Maylander. If reality happens to significantly deviate from our plan, cease all action immediately. We're not some Rankwood espionage slick heroes trying to be tough. Seems like someone is biased against blockbuster hits. We don't get reshoots. It's not as if we have no other choice. Don't send anyone to the pod. It's probably the Banshee's incantation that's keeping those toys from falling straight down. But Nasty should be in jail right now, right? She's not the Banshee I'm referring to. The incantation has fundamentally changed how the levitation layer facilities are connected. The malfunctioning receivers prove this. You're telling me the Banshee's incantation is able to connect to the levitation layer's power supply structure, send signals and synchronize commands? That's the craziest thing I've ever heard. Nasty designed the entire park's conduits and system herself, after all. She didn't become one of Orion Lab 10 solely on her engineering talent. Though if we utilize the upper level's power grid and detonate just one engine, that will cause the entire layer to fall. The entire layer? So you mean the park will connect with DC in 25 minutes. We'll have to present a reverse firework display to PP. Oh my god. Change of plans. Those on the upper layer, mobilize personnel, connect the support platform surrounding the levitation layer to the common power grid. Those on the lower layer, calculate the crash zone and prepare for evacuation measures at any moment. I'll let Gustav know of this and have the admin staff coordinate with us to delay the opening speech. Also, send a group to the jail to confirm Nasty's position and deploy at least 3 elite squads to the elevator, square, and any ascendable routes. It's only a matter of time before she returns to the levitation layer. Are you not going to join? Oh, I have to go supervise an agent of mine. Maylander has quite the troublesome evaluation systems after all. I'll join the rest of you once I'm done. Alright, teams, move out. Yo, how's it going, Jang? Well, we're gonna see if the story takes a uplift, but so far it's been kind of medium. But there's like one big breakthrough, so we'll see if it goes interesting. A giant broadcast screen hangs in the Cloud restaurant, incessantly switching between gaudy company logos and the newest levitation devices, while Oakley's agitated voice booms from the speakers. The lower left of the screen is a real-time feed from the control room, small red dot representing PP flashes, heading for max DC. Two cameras stand on a cloud-like carpet, pointing at a lone chair like a defendant's dock awaiting Gordon Tannen's attendance. You're late. Why did you come dressed like that? There's no time to prepare a new outfit. We only have 20 minutes until your speech. The tie on my ATAO uniform was too tight. I remember 6 years back when you just got that set of clothes after your promotion to a full-time role. Personally adjusted it for you. So giddy from joy you were. You told me I had a lot to learn to be worthy of that uniform, and then I stayed in the same entry-level role for the next 6 years. The newbie's first skill is writing self-reflection letters. It's not that I've never regretted helping you into that uniform. And what about now? This outfit, the blame for causing the accident? Who put them on me? Oh, so you figured it out. You seized 2 crates of my goods the night I was exposed. I thought you were helping me dispose of them. But then I found out they ended up in the hands of you and Maylander. I bet this apology speech wasn't written that night either, was it, sir? Go on. Importing Originum devices into Colombia clearly violates ATAO regulations, and if security is compromised, I'll be the sin eater for the whole park. So you still think this is a personal grudge? Am I wrong? I've always been a slum boy to you, a bad little rule breaker. As I climbed through the ranks on my own effort, you only came to hate me more. Your own effort? Do you honestly think a useless bum with disciplinary records and hundreds of self-reflection letters on file could manage to transfer a highly coveted levitating experimental park on his own? What? You disappoint me, honestly. Even now, you still have only a superficial understanding of our current situation. Your title, investments, achievements, and results from the very moment you stepped onto PP were all gifts from me to you. Gordon Tannen, have you ever wondered how you managed to procure foreign Originum products so easily? You knew about my dealings from the start. Even your stock lists were meticulously picked by my hand. The Trident Arts units from Lithanian are secret equipment used by the Geswacha for military training. The power shields used by Casimir Zian campaign knights were disassembled into 3 parts, and you put them into the exhibits of 3 different companies. And the Originum engines and art cores sourced from foreign military equipment, if the park blows up because of them. You aren't the brightest bulb on the chandelier, but you have a good eye. PP is indeed a great testing ground, but it's not testing those toys in the sky. You have about 10 more minutes, and the sky fever you helped ignite will burn into Colombian flames of fury for foreign spies. The countless exhibits in the sky with their core technology inside them, they're all military reserves for countering our foreign foes. Naturally, Propeller Paradise will become a base for arms testing. Military? I thought you would have considered ATAO's interests at least. We'll always be of one mind when we stand for Colombia. What matters is our country, man. So this apology speech is your stepping stone to a new role. I might even be able to pull some strings and get you a new role at the DoD. Why all the honesty? Not worried I'll sabotage the speech? The fact that you've shown up here with a speech in hand means you've already made the wise choice. To be honest, I wasn't sure you would make a qualified piece on the board, but now, that little monster beside you has answered that question for me. Same as the rich love their cigars and watches, simply enjoying the sense of superiority with their little hobbies. 5'4" isn't a tour made to cater to sky fever. Sure, but you're no longer the reckless young man only concerned with invention and modification. ATAO sanded down your edges, educated you in the ways of the land, made you think to operate within the rules you set yourself, made you like me. Go, get your little monster ready too. Let's have it join your public apology. It's a fitting symbol of what PP represents. Gimmicky, kitschy, useless, an absolute waste. Altitude readings are stable and the pods show no sign of falling any further. While the engines aren't making any strange sounds, we should be safe now, right? 50 meters. Lucky Sissy B's pod fell 50 meters. What's that, Aspen? Are we on before or after? We're on 7 after. Thank God. I was like, if this is 7 before, we're gonna be here all night. 6 months ago, I was at the crowded registration center going through the paperwork. I was first in line and chose the most conspicuous levitation pod for my lucky Sisty Beast. The closer you are to the star pod, the more luck you get. That's what everyone in the park thinks, even if your pod is only a few inches higher than your neighbors. I lined up overnight just to get a spot closer to the sky. I hired over 100 testers to secure an exhibit spot, and got smuggled contraband just to keep my lucky Sisty Beast running. Miss Barn, I can tell you're no fan of the competition, but this is the basic law of Propeller Paradise. I'm sure you've seen it yourself on your tours. I got a list of companies and corporate data updated daily, and there are people who just complain about their terrible lives only to head right back to their misery. You only got here a month ago. To you, this is a place you just happen to visit. To us, it's our only path to a future, and only a few will survive. Maybe you think I'm just a desperate sick man talking out of his ass. But when the levitation platform rises alongside the thousands of pods, we just feel the excitement coursing through our veins for no reason, don't we? I poured everything I had into Lucky Sisty Beast, and that's why I have to win this gamble. I knew it. Even though the incantation can link multiple platforms and pods through the power lines, its range is still limited when calculated outward from the tree. Variant, send a signal to Sky's team. Tell them we found the pattern of power connections. Variant? Ugh! The scientific mind is truly brilliant, don't you agree? Thanks for helping us locate our mission objective. Inform our engineering experts to stop their research. Centering on the platform beneath my feet, have the personnel stationed at the perimeter immediately. Cut all backup power, and attempt to connect the supply lines through alternative methods. Also, it is highly probable that Ryan Labbers have discovered our plan. 2 researchers were found on Platform 4, but have been dealt with. All patrols speed up. Report anyone you see ASAP. Your colleagues in the broadcasting studio will buy us time by switching the camera feeds. Act fast. Ugh. Those agents are effing persistent. Can those mainlander guys fly or something? How are they everywhere? Good thing we lured them away and there's no one here. No. 5 testers and 2 Ryan Labbers found on support platform 17. They have all been dealt with and will be sent to detention on the lower level 5 minutes from now. The operation is going smoothly. They lack the numbers and are scattered like headless houseflies. Well, everyone excels in their own fields and they lack communication equipment or anyone to direct them. What about Nasty? She escaped from the lower level cells 10 minutes ago, but no contact has been noted between her and any of her staff. She knows the park structure. We're at a disadvantage with such a tight time window. But hide and seek is not a single player game. We'll continue our patrols. A smattering of testers and researchers will not significantly affect our operation. Stay wary and report back promptly. Wasn't there one more person here just now? Whew. He didn't notice me. Thanks for pulling me back, Mr. Jagger. You're welcome. You good? Truth be told, seeing the others knocked down so easily still has my knees feeling like spaghetti. Can you run? I can. Let's split up here then. No time to slow down. I'm here, sir. Let me have a smoke first, Mary. You can look at those screens while I'm at it. Marcia fixes her gaze at the dozen or so monitors on the wall and sees the high-altitude elevator, the floating platforms, the ropeway station. Almost every inch of PP is displayed on the screens. The bright and bizarre structures in the sky seem to pop out from the screens. A strange sight in the dark room, as if Marcia was attending a postmodern art exhibition instead. This place. What of it? Nothing. I just didn't think PP would have such a sealed-off space. Reminds you of our interrogation room? So, may I know why you were looking for me? Look at this upper right monitor. You heard the explosion earlier, didn't you? The nearly 10 floating pods connected to that Ryan Labs tree should have been smoking heaps of scrap metal in the waste by now. Mary, I'm sure you know what sort of force keeps them in the air still. An incantation. I kept this secret from you, sir. Ugh. Our colleagues at the Emergency Management Council have only just captured the dangerous criminals responsible for the explosion. Now they have to clean up the mess caused by their own people's negligence. You've seen it. The Banshee's incantations have changed the way that the levitation layer connects to the other platforms and pods. Any other incident happens, and it'll affect more than just 9 pods. The situation is dire. Sir, I shouldn't be speaking to you like this as a secretary or a Maylander agent. I understand my colleagues and I know how the council works. Just now I was looking at the surveillance footage and they were busy munching on cotton candy. Inefficient methods of deception like that should be forbidden on such serious occasions. I've completed my mission on PP, both monitoring Mr. Tannen and the many tech companies and exposing their secrets, but now I see. These missions were never to ensure the expo ran smoothly. Be it the secret from the start, the explosion just now, or the so-called other incident you mentioned, they've all been part of your plan, yes? Haha, you're keen. You pass. So what exactly? Let's sit down before we continue. Big Larry and Old Curry and Lil Mo. What? Why are they making an Old Stooges reference? Sit down, sit down. Come on, you three, some manners would be good. Is this a Maylander trial for a traitor, or... Or have I finally found the time to handle a junior's troublesome evaluation process? Don't worry, I'm just an old fart who wishes to impart some wisdom to the younger generation. I'm curious what that wisdom is. Oh, Mary, I'm sure you'll hate this rotten nonsense. 1 year ago... Okay, here we go. Ryan Labs submitted a proposal to DC, a project developing tech from Galeria Stellaria, and Congressman Street was inspired to expand the project for the whole country. His secretary burned the midnight oil to prepare a slideshow, showcasing what the congressman saw in his dreams after having seen the sky over tree mounts being torn apart. Foundation stones built on the clouds. Rain or shine, it's all been under our feet. 4 groups leaving the star pod one by one as the twin moons are covered with Colombian flags. So there's one here, there's one here. Where's the other one? Is it here, I guess, maybe? And so on and so on. Congress voted. How did that turn out? 273 to 65, more than 80% voted yeah. Ha. And the government is eager to water and fertilize these fantasies. I'm sure you know better than I do how many companies and testers were scrambling to get into PP at any cost after that, Mary. Too many to count. Nearly half the companies in Colombia have added a sky-related department, and even air fryer manufacturers have been trying to add clouds to applicable product lines. Tin Man, don't forget about the stocks. There are over 200 subcategories of sky-related concept stocks, with the longest registered validity period extending 300 years into the future. Ha 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 ha. Companies willingly apply for loans with interest rates several times higher than the prevailing market rate just to secure a spot on PP. I remember looking through Gordon's case files and coming across a certain Aspen who bought contraband goods from him just to clear inspections. Now, it wasn't because he didn't know the law, it was because he was divorced, had sold his family assets, and was burdened with a hopeless amount of debt. The so-called Lucky Sisty Beast is a high-stakes gamble that will decide the rest of his life. What a shame. Shame? He used to run a grocery store in a town by the shipping routes near DC, and even now there might be some pioneers out there still using the tools he peddled. But here he is with his invention, that floating revolving bar where the people turn but not the beer. What else can you even do with that other than invite your foes for a drink? Simply put, what he's done is akin to a student frantically writing compliments in the margins, hoping a teacher will give him a perfect score. Take the future as a real test. Who's going to be the examiner? You, me, the generals of the DoD, or maybe Congress? Maybe it'll be Casimirs, who just equipped all their campaign knights with power armor, or Lithanian with their recent addition of a basic arts tactics course to all school curricula. Or perhaps Ursus with its growing army, their mighty force that's left their minds empty. Could it be Aegir, currently shelling the Iberian coast with artillery along with sea monsters? Among these parties, I fear it is the sea monsters who are the most likely to visit a floating revolving bar. Sir, you mean to say that Columbia's fanaticism with this for the sky is completely meaningless? Compared to what's happening everywhere else right now, I'm afraid so. Columbia has always been driven by fanaticism. I'm sure you're crystal clear on this, given your background, Mercia. Without a fanatical drive for freedom, we wouldn't have had our frontier rebels 80 plus years ago. We Colombians would still be living under the Victorians' heel. Without a lust for wealth, our mass pioneer movement would not have happened, and nearly half of Colombian land today would remain an untraversable wilderness, even for the strongest bird and beasts. But this time, it's just a waste. So you think PP should take the blame? Why would I? It has already accomplished its mission perfectly. Well, it's one step away. It stirred up the Colombian zeal more effectively than I could have ever hoped to. Now it just needs to redirect it. Through its ruin? Through it being destroyed. By who? Who else in this park could... Wait, Mr. Tannen's goods smuggled from all across Terra. Casimirs, Lithanian, Sargon, and even Kazdel. Will become weapons planted by foreign spies, deliberately intended to ruin Colombia's display of achievements and destroy our people's fantasies of taking to the sky. 80 plus years later, the Colombians' rage will be reignited once more. Holy fuck. So the Maylander group is planting foreign objects to make it look like they all sent shit over to fuck with them. Oh my god. What fucking propaganda. Casmirians might not want to see their tax money turned into knight armor, while Lithanian children might just run away from boring basic art tactics classes. But Colombians, we have our fervor. As we move to the future, we move forward together, tens of millions strong. As long as we can direct this zeal into a proper path. Collate our wills and seize the truth of everything. Sir, I remember you telling me your story. I thought you always hated war. It's been tens of thousands of years. The number of lost souls in my hand is no more or less than the casualties of a military campaign. The reason I didn't burn in Kazdel's furnace then is that I hate meaningless sacrifices. But this time, an arms race might just be the beginning. You and I know it won't end there, just like how the Great Expansion didn't end with the discovery of some ore. So the sacrifices Colombia needs for this competition won't be enough with just this part, correct? I told you before, right? There's a whole bunch of rotten nonsense. The Maylander Foundation didn't have to explain all this to you, my dear agent. I don't know what do you mean by the shining altar? Oh, you mean like another, like an altar of shining? Oh, I see. Yes. How's it going, Sith? The name's actually pretty fitting for what we're finding out here. Morning, bro. Maylander Foundation didn't have to explain all of this to you, my dear agent. But the day will come when you'll have to accept the truth even if you don't agree with it. Don't forget your family name, Mercia. You are a Celine. Sith, don't read the story, brother. I'll just give you a summary, bro. Holy fuck, has this been... Brother, when was the last time I was able to finish a event story in 3 days, bro? Oh my god. Wait. The name of the Mayland... Wait, the name of the head of the Maylander Foundation is Maylander Celine. So Mercia is his daughter. Holy fuck. What a fucking reveal. Oh my god. This is... Keep hitting the wrong key. The elevators connecting the park's upper and lower... The elevators connecting the park's upper and lower levels have been sealed off, and the only ropeway station leading to the tree is also out of service. Nasty has exhausted herself just by getting here. Floating pods by her side are riddled with cracks, black smoke billowing from within. A sign their core energy modules have been destroyed and they should have all crashed to the ground. But the pods stubbornly remain against the clouds, piercing together a precarious path as if an invisible pair of hands are holding them up. Nasty? Up to the others, I'll go get her. The agent rushes towards her, but just as he takes a step forward, the bricks under his feet shift. Ah! Where the fuck did he just go? Target sighted, location Flying Donut Station, requesting backup. We try to intercept her, but something's up here. Ah! Disorder? Nasty recalls the river at the mouth of the convolvulus of the Banshees, still and calm where even a child could safely row a boat on their own. However, unassisted intruders find the dense forests on both sides constantly shifting positions, like a mobile labyrinth with a distant riverbank always hidden beyond the thick mist. After a momentary silence, Nasty steps out of the pod and into the empty sky. Brick and stone immediately form a floor beneath her. Disorder. A path held together by an incantation. Convolvulus banshees often isolate themselves from outsiders or decorate their own courtyards with this method. She also used the same tactic to momentarily stall Saria back in the ring lab. This is a path specifically paved just for her. To her surprise, the whole area centered on the tree has been reconstructed by the incantation, but she fails to find the caster within the tree's core, among its roots. Only the roots of the tree are breathing, just as always. Please verify your credentials. Nasty Lunnery, Director of Engineering, Ryan Lab. Nasty dashes towards the roots. She must confirm if any abnormal changes have happened while she was away. This is what is left of the vivarium, and the secret Ryan Lab has been protecting at all costs. No matter how unrest in the park ends, it is the only bargaining chip in Nasty's hand. She touches the roots, allowing data to flow into her fingertips and gather in the branches around her waist. Ulysses always teased Nasty about being a human computer, and she always took it as praise. In the current situation where biotech has fused with Banshee witchcraft, her body is perhaps the best data cable to use. The branches begin to vibrate quickly, a sign of the device overclocking. Almost simultaneously, Nasty feels some sort of temperature shift. Not the chill of condensation, but the heat of electricity, but body heat. She experiences a strange feeling out of nowhere. Here and now, she is no longer director of Ryan Labs' engineering section, checking if a device is still operating normally, but a banshee touching another of her kind. Just like so many years ago, when that woman held her own hand and taught her how to blow a leaf whistle. Nasty abruptly looks up. Uh-oh. Nasty, my child. You're back. Monka Giga. Alright, chat, this is probably gonna be a long one, so I'm gonna go run really quickly and get some water, use the bathroom really quickly, and then we're gonna lock in for these last 2 nodes. So I will be right back really quickly. Go stretch your legs, and we will finish up this event after I'm back. Burp. Also, let me mute this once again. Let me go ahead and disconnect my phone. Okay. Burp. Alrighty, let's finish this up. Went 0-2, but had fun. Pog, bro. You win something big? Bro, I can't stay up till 2 a.m. again, okay, bro? We gotta open, like, fast.
ねえバーゴー、僕とボスにウイスキーでもちょうだい。口をすすぎたいんだ。
紹介はいい。各位の情報はインプット済みよ。
I hopefully, well, let's get rid of the BRB. Hopefully I'm done with the event by then, we'll see though. Report. All pods on the levitation layer are now connected to the detonation web. We have people on the lower levels evacuating people from the square. People are very passionate about the exhibition. Things will take some time, but it will not delay our plans. 9 p.m. dinner is crazy. We will detonate the levitation layer as soon as Propeller Paradise docks with the district. Any movement from Rhine? We've taken 23 into custody, a dozen are still at large on the platforms. We have control of the 8 observation points. Those people are going in and out of the exhibit area and the ropeway stations. No special Rhine equipment other than standard maintenance gear. They're just playing hide and seek. No plan B. Keep an eye on them. They don't know the details of Maylander's plan, nor do they have any means of communication. Any last gasp effort is doomed to fail. Understood. The outline of Max DC, the most vibrant nomadic city in Colombia, is already visible from the ropeway station's waiting area. The agents have not had a chance to enjoy the view of Propeller Paradise until now. With an excellent visibility, all the elaborate facilities of the levitation layer are brimming with vitality. Pods float in mid-air like aquatic creatures. Floating botanical units line up orderly between small platforms, forming a power grid that supports the entire layer. Wait, where did you say Ryan's people were? Exhibit area and ropeway stations. Where exactly? Show me. Looking at their movements, there's no way they can reach the platform where that tree is, or other companies' pods. Could it be they're not trying to take back their turf at all? Orion's people, the testers, and the company reps, they all seem to be flying around blindly in the dark. What's the point of it all? The agent casts a casual glance at the nearest planning unit. The unremarkable Rhine creation stands quietly. He suddenly realizes that the warning lights on their edges are easily visible even during the day, and they have been blinking irregularly for some time, for a while now. Spotters report that all the Rhine people have disappeared from sight. No, they didn't disappear. They're going in the same direction. There's a pattern to their movement. Everyone, listen up. Destroy all the planting units you see along the way. They're not decorations. Rhine is using them to communicate. Cut off the exhibit area from all the ropeway stations and find every one of those people playing hide and seek. Find out where they're heading. What on terror are they thinking? You've been looking outside the window for a while now. You said you must win your gamble. Sorry to sneeze. And you have a reason. Yes, I'm in the middle of a gamble too. I have a rough idea what's going on in PP, given the look on your face and the freefall that we just experienced. You wouldn't run this kind of risk with me for no reason, but there's nothing I can offer you now except... Dude, that sounds hella good. You want the lucky Sisty Beast? You could say that. I want the contraband that Gordon Tannen sold you. Coming to the broadcast room to bother me when you should be preparing your own speech? You have a thick hide, Mr. Tannen. I would have died a long time ago if all my enemies refused to work with me ever again. Work with you, I'm afraid I can't. Maylander has a laundry list of violations that I committed during my career. I don't want to spend the rest of my days giving prison tours. Neither are you looking for a peaceful life. Besides, my proposal has something to do with Maylander. There's no better vantage point than here on PP. Oakley's too excited to notice, but I doubt you would miss what's going on. Well, if I gotta say it. The broadcast screens of the levitation layer are switching too quickly. They say it's because they're doing testing, which I'm not convinced about. There are a dozen testers on the square whom I don't recognize. They don't look like they're taking a stroll. They look like they're patrolling. Like they know that danger is impending. Are you trying to trick me into another plot? There's a plot afoot on Propeller Paradise, alright, that's a fact. It's also a fact that I won't let Gustav make a mockery out of this place in front of all of Columbia. You have 10 seconds, yes or no. What are the chances of success? 10%? Doesn't sound like a gamble you'd take. I don't have a choice with that old fox sitting across the table, holding all the cards. A plan almost certain to fail. Interesting, tell me about it. I need you to convince as many people as possible to return to the levitation layer and retrieve the original equipment and arts units on this list. All contraband that you sold. They have far more potential than just sitting under the spotlight. You want to escape and take all of PP with me. Gustav and Maylander never intended to allow the exhibition to go ahead. The opening ceremony was just a smokescreen. The levitation layer will fall a second time soon, but miracles don't happen a second time. The lucky Sisty Beast can't afford to start over. Neither can most startups on Propeller Paradise. Escape and take all of PP. It's the only way to save both PP and the people on the lower level. PP has been traveling on the Barren Lands for 7 days. Fuel is short, and the plate is operating in safe mode. The basic propulsion module is not enough to change its direction. But the arts unit that the lucky Sisty Beast got was just a transformation stabilizer. It can't supply enough energy to turn a plate. Correct. But it wasn't the only item that Tannen smuggled. You mean get all the contraband devices and build a makeshift propulsion module to make the plate deviate from its course? Not deviate, make an about face. About face? Have you any idea what you're saying? It's the direction of the borders. True, the procedures for cross-border travel is a little complicated. It would be treason. No, I can't go to jail. People need to see Lucky Sisty Beast on a broadcast. My wife in Northville needs to see it. In the interest of full disclosure, I must inform you that people won't see Lucky Sisty Beast on the broadcast, whether we succeed or fail. Oh. I'm sorry, but I'm taking the unit. Whether you give it up voluntarily or not, we don't have time. What's the point? We can't even leave the pod. Someone has unlocked it remotely. What? You see the floating botanical units outside the window? 3 flashes is a distress call. The current message is cycled after 5 continuous seconds of being lit. Right now, 3, 4, 5, 7 flashes. Looks like the other platforms on the list have been retrieved. Everyone is rendezvousing on Planet 7. Wait. The light went out. What does that mean? It means Maylander knows what's up. We're in danger. Mr. Aspen, you can either come with me on your feet, or you can go to sleep right here, right now. People like us never get to choose, do we? Sit down. Gustav looks at the Savra who has butted heads with him for 7 years, who now sits stiffly on a chair like a potato wrapped in foil. He knows young officers well. They are angry, flamboyant, unhappy about everything, and frustrated about being restricted by rules. In the end, however, they all sit in the same chair that rectifies their young spine and becomes a proper member of the upper stratum of Columbian society, as Gordon Tannen will. Once Maylander's plan succeeds, the broadcast room will switch over to cloud. Don't screw up. Put your usual attitude away. Sound sincere, devastated, is the PP you built. won't be hard to stir the appropriate emotions. Tomorrow, that sorry face of yours is going to be on the front page of every Colombian newspaper. Look the part, won't you? And stop staring at your little freak. I know, you don't want to be PP Sin Eater, sharing the same spotlight as Nasty, but your little hodgepodge trinket isn't going to save you. So I'm sitting in Gordon Tannen's defendant seat. Yes. I can follow you to the DOD once I apologize, according to the script. Do as you're told and you'll rise quickly through the ranks. Yeah, guess what? I don't give a shit. What was that? I don't like this, see, it makes my scales itch. Broadcast countdown, Cloud Restaurant standby. Broadcast now? Impossible, no movement on the levitation layer. Did Maidlander screw up? Who's operating the broadcast? 3, 2, 1. Do it, 5-4. Yes, sir. What? Ugh. As the broadcast cuts to the Cloud Restaurant, Space Finn 054 leaps at an unprepared Gustav, pinning him to the ground. The screen in the restaurant lights up and Gustav sees his own face, writhing in pain and shock. He knows this face is being displayed on every screen in Propeller Paradise. His contingency plans flash before his eyes, but Maitlander's plan is in its final phase, leaving little room for distractions. His communicator lies in pieces on the ground, destroyed by Space Finn 054. Gordon stretches his neck and wrists, crushes the defendant's seat with his foot, and leisurely lies down on the sofa next to it. Oh, that felt good. By the way, tomorrow, that sorry face of yours is gonna be on the front page of every Colombian newspaper. Look the part, won't you? You. What, you didn't expect to be immobilized by a little hobby made to fuel Sky Fever? You're the elder states man of ATAO, playing a new chapter at the Department of Defense. You made the rules of Colombia when you were young, and you continue to serve your country even after your retirement. Woohoo, first rate, ain't ya? Maybe you've grown to thinking that your enemies will always use the rules to fight back in smart and clever ways. Did you forget that Gordon Tan is a bandit who never gives a shit about the rules? A piece of trash obsessed with his tools. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. You didn't even recognize 5-4 even though I didn't change his voice module. Who's the Space Fin beast? Oh, it's 5-4. Hello, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Arts Units, and Original at your service. To check the progress of application, press 1. To report a safety risk, press 2. To be connected to the operator, press 0. An ATAO operating answering machine? I said Spacefin 054 wasn't a rich man's cigar, and I won't be smug just because it obeys the rules I set down. 7 years ago, I sat on a tiny chair that made my ass hurt, writing my first self-reflection letter late at night, wondering if I should quit. Answering machine 054 started giving off an unusual noise, and I racked my brains trying to figure out the problem. I started studying every arts unit and original device that passed through my hands, just to give 54 the ability to operate, communicate, and think on its own. You think the hundreds of self-reflection letters I wrote were the symbol of my submission, but 54 is the real culmination of my 7 years at ATAO. You're full of crap. You didn't even learn the tricks of bureaucracy for your little invention. You think I've never seen you negotiate or threaten? Arrogant, vain, ambitious. I know them when I see it. I can hear shadows of my own speeches even now as you're talking to me. I never thought I was perfect. Maybe I'll never be able to get rid of bad habits that I learned from you. They disgust me, but they weren't mistakes. My only mistake was to define my transactions as smuggling. I shouldn't have allowed myself to accept the rules that they have taken form. Or the rules that have taken form. Rules that don't make sense. Foolish boy, you don't understand what's at stake. Listen, old slug. I don't care what high and mighty response you have. PP isn't supposed to be a breeding ground of war. Sure, kinetic engines and high-powered arts unit. Arts unit? What? can become powerful weapons, but what they're supporting now is the dream of life in the sky. Until PP docks with the district, I'm its chief executive, the man who built a little place of heaven that still has a semblance of freedom. I will decide whether it should be destroyed or whether it should escape. Take his passcode, 5-4. Yes, sir. It's no use. The central control console is locked. You can't stop the play from docking with the district even if you have my passcode. Who said anything about stopping? What? I said escape. Not only did the former head of ATAO not disable his passcode when he retired, he used the security access it granted to disable the urban identification code system on the Colombian border. Cool, ain't it? You're gonna commit treason for the stupid, pointless children's playground? Ah, you're right, you didn't learn a single thing from me. Let me remind you that PP is running out of fuel. You can't operate the plate's steering system, and you don't have enough energy. Even when you're pinned to the ground by the robot I built, you somehow managed to forget that I've always been an inventor. I hope they deliver their goods on time. The sound of rotary motors has never been so clear. The skies are clear, overly pristine self-cleaning artificial clouds combined with natural clouds to form a wondrous scene. The people on the platform are oblivious to it. Some 50 PP guards and Maylander agents block off every passage and cable connections, forming an impregnable cordon line with their bodies and weapons. Beneath their feet, the classical black and white tiles from a chessboard, the two sides separated by a 10-meter long open air passage. The eyes of the agents are fixed on the support platform on the other side of the passage. The Rhine staff and testers, who had at one point disappeared from sight, now assemble there. Platform 7. The analysis was correct. This is where the hide and seek converges. Our people are ready, and there are more of them than expected. They took out our guys in the broadcast room. The intel was not accurate. We're putting in everyone we have. I think the numbers alone isn't enough. Be on your guard. They have an advantage when it comes to the new weapons and lay of the land. PP is about to dock with DC. Do not let anyone pass. Use force if necessary. I'll take responsibility. Yes, sir. 6 elite squads. We have numbers, but the guys on the other side are hard to tell people to keep going when they're exhausted. Get the word out to the others, Yelena. Anyone who's too tired to move, give someone else their core components. Pick up any hover unit and stay behind to guard the support platform. You're betting on them being wary about unknown new products? I hope it works. Whew. Made it. Are you sure you want to go this way when it's like this? Yes, this is the only way to Cloud. Take my parachute. Things might get dangerous. What about you? Me? Fern gazes at the Maylander blockade with interest as though she is going to meet an old rival. The camera drones left Platform 7 half an hour ago. Nothing that is about to happen here will be seen in the broadcast room. Everyone knows that conflict is inevitable. Neither side wants to delay. Their eyes are fixed on each other. Everyone is waiting for a sign. My tour is waiting for my signal. Suddenly, a yellow and black warning flag is raised. A young feline woman jumps out from the crowd, loudspeaker in hand. The first day I snuck onto PP, a kind guy told me that no one in this place can be stopped. And even the sky is no longer off limits. From the exhibits to the underground lab, I memorized every strange and curious invention, the complex ideas behind them, and hundreds of thousands of words of descriptions. I could tell you who made the flying toaster above our heads, its model, and the generation. I could go on and on about how wonderful they are, but to be completely honest, I find the levitating plates less interesting than the sunset of bleached wasteland. Then I remember what my father used to say to me: a story is always more interesting than an explanation. I've heard many frustrating experiences in the years that I worked as an independent guide. There's nothing wrong with seeking truth, but many people subconsciously disparage exaggeration, inspiration, and dreams yet to come true. I swore I would never again label things that I've never see for myself as impossible, and laugh at my own family with my neighbors as a few years ago. It was not until the day my father died that I truly understood what he said. If PP needs a guide, I would rather tell people of Colombia about the people I met here, about their stories. Rice bush. Huh? A cobbler from Bunker Hill whose dream was to leave a footprint on each of the twin moons so that everyone who looked up with a telescope would see his shop's logo on the shoe prints. There's no bigger billboard than the sky, after all. Owen Fredericks. I'm here. Hardware store owner who wants to put his own screw on the second ring lab and earn a spot for his family when space colonization becomes reality. Hey, never hurts to be prepared for the future. Aspen. I'll tell it myself. Aspen, grocer from Northville. After being tricked into taking out exploitative loans, I divorced my wife and left home so the creditors wouldn't go after my family. My wife and I came up with the name Lucky Sist Beast together. We haven't spoken to each other in 2 years. She was worried sick when I left. I promised that the name Lucky Sisty Beast would be on TV, that she'd know I'm safe. Now I know that the expedition was one big fat lie. I want her to at least see this red balloon with the Lucky Sisty Beast logo on it, even if all the pods crash. Aspen, and all of you, the things we want, whether they're based in reality or just a pipe dream, whether they're the result of blind conformity or superstition, they're much more important than the Mainlander and Gustav think they are. Run, jump, fly. We'll overcome anything that tries to block our path and change us, without ever trying to understand us. We're the ones who will decide PP's path. Fern dashes forward like a foul beast, loudly blasting her signal as the rest of the pack follows her behind, charging at the Mainlander blockade. Exhibits fly over the heads of the pushing and squeezing crowd, carrying all kinds of contraband towards the sky. Absurd and flying free. Whew. Finally out of the woods. Good work, guys. We just have to hang in there a little longer. 34 contraband core components, all intact. Looks like the landing module worked quite well. My work is almost done. All that's left is to deliver this to Gordon. Hope all is well on his side. Next. Put it down. Turn around. You're Gustav's science consultant. What are you doing here? Outside the window, the pinnacle of the DC government office and the Colombian flag are already visible. Gordon's eyes are fixed on the bottom left of the broadcast as the red dot on the map gets closer and closer to the district plate. According to the plan, the devices on the list should have been delivered to Cloud more than 10 minutes ago. He forces himself to not look at the door. Gustav is bound to notice any sign of anxiety. The plan isn't going the way you expected, is it? You're calmer than expected. Being willing to take risks is not a bad thing, but you're not good enough at assessing risk. You didn't have time to prepare a plan B for your reckless plan A. All of you will pay a heavy price if it fails. And what is your plan B? It's all good and well to rediscover your confidence, but never forget who you're competing with. I told you that getting carried away will cause you to overlook fatal flaws. What do you mean? You're late. I was delayed. Your science consultant? More than just a science consultant, I need insurance for my plan. The tall, dark Caranta walks towards Gordon, the box holding 34 Iridium devices safely contained by protective material seems almost weightless in his hands. He lifts his arm and hands the box over to Gordon. What you wanted? Thanks. What are you doing? I learned a lot from you. Of course I knew what your trump card was. A rival to provoke competition. A scientific consultant with both brains and brawn. A fair and impartial outsider to give legitimacy to the hearing and plan. Too bad you picked the wrong guy. Gramophone made from the tentacles of fossilized seaborn. Decorative or specifically functional. Oh, it's for... I see, automatic tuning with the seaborn sound-producing structures. The groove on the edge indicated that the designer even tested whether seaborn adjust their biostructures based on the music. An interesting idea. Where does the golden skeletal hand come from? The one on the wall is from Sar. It forms a pair with the heavily corroded one on the shelf, doesn't it? The construction of the joints and the level of wear and tear indicates that it originates from the western deserts of Sargon. Ah, this rune dagger is a familiar face. They were supposed to be a pair. I got it from a Sami snow priest, who said a pair of lovers put a curse on it with their blood. It's driven by witchcraft and cut through iron like butter. I know, the other one was once impaled in my heart. It no longer cuts through iron like butter, but still good enough to carve a walking stick. Mr. Consultant, I apologize for any offense I might have caused. I understand your desire for recompense, but I don't have time. I thought you were here for a serious purpose. If we take off part of the structure of the gramophone, and combine it with the sensor module on the metal skeletal hand, we might create a new type of voice-guided navigation model. That witchcraft-driven blade can serve as a low-loss needle. And here, this high-powered original internal combustion engine, legal only in Rim Billington, can provide 30 times the power of a standard Colombian equipment. If only we can find a Victorian transformation stabilizer which is no longer in production, and the locus of sorcery that was once seen on the Colombian barren lands. We have almost all the parts necessary to put together the initial core assembly of a nomadic plate's mobility layer. You know what I'm planning to do? Trying to modify an entire plate's power source with a single device is extremely risky, but not impossible. You're not one of Gustav's guys, are ye? You're the one who said you don't have time. The real question is, what do you need me to do? Gordon glares at the Karanta standing at the center of the collecting room. Karanta recognized all Gordon's collections, saw through all Gordon's thoughts, and nonchalantly revealed a glimpse into his own past, as though he had pursued death across the land. Gordon, the Karanta seems to stroll through the halls of his thoughts, like a king that knows nothing and everything. Once again, the spike on the Savra's tail rise up on their end, swaying conspicuously. This time is not because he is on guard, but because of the excitement of victory being in sight. How's the stability of the power unit? It will last no more than 3 days, or 1.5 if fuel's, or 1 day and a half if fuel is insufficient. Good enough. You don't actually plan on driving it out of Colombia. You don't think I would shit on everyone's future for a grudge? That's what we want people to think, to allow you to protect as many people as possible. Is that so? Treason is a serious crime. Usually look at my life, I've got enough charges against me as it is. Come, help me with these. Come, help me take these stuff to the control room. The wings of a foul beast, the horn of a burden beast, the teeth of a mangler beast, the hide of a sand beast, and the blood of a beck beast. What would happen if you took something from 34 creatures and put it all together? Sharp, weird, chaotic, dangerous, malicious. These are the thoughts that flash through Gordon's mind as he gazes upon the power unit he just created. But he is also filled with excitement that threatens to drive him mad. The plate's original power system has been turned off. The device is now connected. You may now decide the course of Propeller Paradise. I swore an oath when I got my transfer notice. I would be the one who lights the fires of everything new on PP. I would do everything I can to make even the stupidest ideas come true. No one would ever again feel the pain I felt at ATAO to be forced to admit their own uselessness in rules set by others. Now, I'm the one who lights the fire, except I'm doing it to the engine of PP and let it run into the empty wilderness. Gordon grabs the fierce-looking lever on the power unit and takes a deep breath. Say goodbye to max DC, PP. Oh, how long is this fucking section? Oh my god. Tin Man, that Fern is leading a group on platform 7. I see it through the monitors. Looks like Tannen got one up on Gustav at Cloud. Hearing from the guys monitoring the Rhine tree, Nasty has broke through the blockade. Our guys are trying to follow her, but they're being blocked by something that feels like sarcasm witchcraft. Vela. Send a team over and get the situation under control. I'll deal with the matters on the Rhine side. Looks like we're going to meet an old friend, Larry, Curly, and Mo. A mad banshee on the brink of death might be a bit of a headache to deal with. As for you, Mary, you can choose to stay here or help our colleagues outside. You should stay a little longer. Hey, you three. Tin Man hears no answer from his reverend friends. Old Curly is lively waving a stick and dancing an impromptu tap dance. Big Larry lies on top of Mercia's head with tears in his eyes, recalling memories of who knows what. As for Lil Mo, he is howling and yelling, and Tin Man can hear. He seems to think he's back in Casdell, taking out a revolver and emptying it into the Elder Revenant, trying to stuff him into the furnace. My legs are numb and I'm a little dizzy. Perhaps you've been lax about your exoskeleton maintenance. This brain isn't supposed to rust. Your arts have improved considerably, huh? You managed to drag these three into the whirlpool of memory, even though old Curly had confiscated the projector. Or was it dumb luck? Did all the memories of their overly long lives make it easier for you to manipulate? It'll take a long time to play through the memories of your lives, even at 320x speed, not to mention all the moments that need to be paused and replayed. I apologize. You understand that the effectiveness against me is limited. Yes, I'm sure you'll break free of the shackles quite soon. I've read the Hoholiak reports. She could not fully incapacitate you, even after lopping your head off. Therefore, all I can do is stall for as much time as possible and delay your intervention. You're an outstanding agent, Mary. You've always been doing an admirable job, helping people forget what they should, be it through arts or other means. But this is the wrong time, and you've chosen the wrong target. You told me not to forget my family name. I've never forgotten. Any Celine who grew up in that old house would never forget. The orphanage of Maylander Celine, predecessor of the Foundation. It was our home. We truly considered Mr. Celine our grandfather when we were little. You know what my most vivid memory of him is? When I was 8, I came home from school one day to find the doll that should have been in my room, spinning in the middle of the garden, watering the grass around it. It was the only thing I had that reminded me of my mother. I don't remember her face, but I remember her dimples gleaming under the lamp when she sewed the doll for me. Grandpa turned it into a sprinkler without a single word to me, as though the doll was always meant to do that. The children who grew up with me all have similar stories. You were Grandpa's best friend. You know that, for the founding father of the Federation, there are only new things in Columbia, the youngest nation on Terra, rising out of the frontiers. The only reason for old things to stay is to be used for pioneering. It didn't matter if we were Victorian immigrants or Gaulish refugees, whether we were children of debtors or criminals. Grandpa wanted us to become the children of Columbia, become Celines. That was the only reason for our existence. However, that's exactly why I can't accept what's happening right now and take it for granted. What do you mean? I can't begin to imagine what you experienced in the long course of history. Maylander Foundation, the president, the vice president, they all have more things to think about. I've seen the analyses on Casmiran power armor. They reverse engineered the technology of the Gaulish View Vanguard, achieving results that surpass the transmitter using the flesh and blood of knights. I've read the textbooks of Lithanian basic arts tactics courses. It will not be a surprise if, in a decade, every citizen of Lithanian is a soldier, as is the case for Laterano. I can understand why Maylander thinks Columbia is falling behind, and how a timely arms race could help bring us back on the right track. Judging by the standards that Grandpa taught me so many times, there's nothing more efficient from the perspective of national development. It's not that I don't understand these fallacies. Indeed, if I was asked to deal with these problems, I would draw a blank. I would be able to do little else but cry. I just can't take it for granted, not now. If orphans like us who had nowhere to go could all become children of Columbia, and why should a mother who walked 1,000 miles in search of her daughter, a merchant who put everything on the line so that his wife would not be hounded by debt by creditors, and testers who are simply trying to earn a living, why should they be sacrificed for the sake of Columbia's progress? My job is to make people forget, but this time, you decide to pay a price for Columbia's progress. You shouldn't be allowed to forget. You should remember the lives and dreams that were part of the sacrifice. Don't think of it as no big deal. Nasty gazes up at the indistinct figure within the wani branches, the figure of her mother. Bela's limbs have been replaced by gray-white branches, bark climbing up her clothes, and skin like scales printing countless indistinct visages. Glowing resin pours down like a waterfall, obscuring her face. Many desperate hands reach out from within, clutching her throat like clutching at straws. Both the tree and the person within seem almost unrecognizable. There's only one thing that Nasty can be sure of. This was not a natural occurrence. You merge with the tree? Falling. I see your road back falling, collapsing. I just make sure you can go home. My incantation could not reach the broken path, but the roots of this roosting tree will. I harmed it. Unravel. Nasty's incantation goes unanswered. The tree's design was based on the grammar of the Banshees. It remains flawed in many ways, but it was never before rejected my it remains flawed in many ways, but has never before rejected my incantation, yet now. The branches continue to spread around Vela, dragging her floating silhouette towards Nasty bit by bit. Peas. Vela, stop. Let me analyze what's happened to you. Nasty's plea goes unanswered too. All Vela does is ask questions in an urgent, trembling voice. There's no mist apple pulp outside the valley. How do you polish your feather horns, Nasty? I never taught you incantations, but it looks like you've learned it on your own. A kind of imitation? How did you... And your bone pen. Your... That's not important, Vela. What I need to know is what happened to you here. Not important. Vela is suddenly silent and the creeping branches come to a standstill. An instant later, they start to spread in the opposite direction, encroaching upon what is left of Vela. The fusion is progressing. This roosting tree has shared your memories with me, where you went, what you did. I can share more important things. I saw you dig for answers in the great library of the Lich for days and nights. You ruined your eyesight, but the curmudgeon Fremont kicked you out in the end. I should have told him that you were never a foolish child. It was because of me. I saw you bind your horns and attach foul beasts' feathers to them every day, just to sneak into the city of Sancta to find food. It was bad for your horns. That's why the one on your right stopped growing, isn't it? I saw you sleep on metal scaffolds where there are no leaves to give you shade. You didn't build a treehouse either. Just used a simple metal plate. How could anyone sleep like that? Did you get sick? Nasty listens to her go on and on. The voice is distorted, barely recognizable, but the words of concern are familiar. Vela used to say these things when they lived in Convalis. Nasty realizes that she is not looking at a problem that needs to be solved, nor a patient that needs to be treated. She's looking at a worried mother who needs to be understood. Nasty lowers her bone pan. Fern told me how you looked like when she found you. There are burns from arts, holes from bullets, and gashes from sandstorms all over you. You walked the path that I once did, only harder and more painfully. You could have died. You could have stayed in the Convalis. There's nothing more I could do for the valley, for Lockermerline, for the children. You've already done so much, the lies you weave for the sake of all the banshees. I knew it. They couldn't fool you. I began to sense that something was off soon after you brought me to the Convalis. I've kept the lie going for 200 years. This was my greatest achievement as custodian of the valley, and my greatest sin. 200 years? Do you mean that war? Yes. The king of Sarkaz at the time was old and foolish. It was not just the royal courts, even outsiders thought they could turn him into a puppet and thus control all Sarkaz. It was already a bad year. A catastrophe raked the land once, and the Alliance's guns raked it again. This picture again. The green feline appeared on the horizon, leading a wall of steel that stretched as far as the eye could see. Which were the Steam Knights? Which were the Spirecasters and which were the Vo Vanguard? I couldn't tell. I don't know when they learned to build ships of steel and tubes that breathe fire. All I remember is that the towering Wendigos could only whimper as they were crushed beneath the ships, and our kin fell burning from the sky like broken kites. No one who heard the wailing of that day would ever forget it. The wailing of the Banshee. We couldn't tell if we were delivering death or delivering the dead. All we could do was wail and howl, hardly able to put together a single coherent elegy. There were less than 1,000 of us left when the Allied forces withdrew from Kazdel. Half of us had lost our lives. Because of our nature, the Banshees have never missed a single war of the Sarkaz, but such losses were unprecedented. I survived by sheer chance and left the blood-soaked land of sorrows trying to find a place where life still remained. The Convalis? The Convalis. The vast mist lake separates it from the outside. The seasons come to a still in the golden woods. It is a quiet place, one that seemed like it didn't belong to the Sarkaz. There's nothing that shouldn't belong to the Sarkaz. Yes, we believed it at the time. Me, Locker Merlin, and the new king chosen by the crown. We believed in a new life for the Sarkaz. Locker Merlin and I took our remaining kin into the convolus, built a dock by the Mist Lake, and built our court in the forests. For the first time, we added symbols of life into the Song of the Banshee, guided the trees to bear rich fruit, and the vines to weave themselves into bridges with incantations. For the first time, the Banshees settled in a single place. They no longer had to sleep with only the night sky as their blanket, traveling from one death to another. The tokens from outside soon came flying in like snowflakes. Tokens announcing death. Yes. Not even Teresa and Teresa's could solve the problems that left behind by war overnight. Yes. Death lingers long after the smoke has cleared. We made dried fruit out of our first harvest. There's barely enough for a few hundred banshees to make it through the coldest month of winter. The tokens in my room, the murky blood crystals of the vampires, tattered shrouds of the Nox, the shriveled rose and hearts that Jaj became. They soon pillared high, much higher than our dried fruit. I knew that if we went out to deliver the dead at that time, we would return to our old path. The catalyst for change was one, with the lives of thousands upon thousands in war. So you made a choice on behalf of all the banshees. I made the choice. I convinced Locker Merlin. I concealed all the tokens announcing death coming from the outside. Occasionally, a banshee might leave the convolus to deliver our kin, but I chose the people carefully and sparingly. Locker Merlin faced much criticism outside. For a long time, we believed that we could cast aside our nature and lead a different life. If the banshees could do it, so could all the Sarkaz. Even if the price was that the owners of the tokens would never find their way to the myriad souls. Even the price was that the banshees, having violated their nature, are swallowed by a lifetime of emptiness, destined to endure a long and painful journey of forgetting upon their deathbed. 200 years passed, 200 years we had endured, till I met you. That's why I had to leave. How many deaths did you tell the others about each month? More people die in Kazdel every day. You could fool the others, but you knew that I knew from the beginning. Locker Merlin was right. You were too smart and you grew up in Kazdel. I could not have fooled you. I hoped you could live in Convolus. Not just because your mother was one of the many thousands of souls that I turned a blind eye to. Not just because I owed you a happy childhood or failing to respond to the last wish in time. But also because I hoped that Convolus, the sanctuary that was built in the hope of seeking a new life for the Sarkaz, would at least be able to take in a child from outside after 200 years. I took the child who was most likely to expose my lie in as my daughter. You carefully kept me away from other banshees. Ultimately, your hope for the convolus fell through. I made many mistakes in my life, but there is none that I regret more than your departure. You're always a smart girl. I've thought about it many times. That if I had told you the truth about things, you would have understood and played along whatsoever. If that was the case, then perhaps you wouldn't have. No, I would have left regardless. I remember the day we parted. You called out to me. I didn't turn around, but I looked down at the water. There was no wind on Mist Lake that day. The boat sailed across the water like a knife cutting through a piece of paper. I saw your face clearly reflected in the still water. You wept when I said I was leaving, but let out a sigh of relief so small so imperceptible, that perhaps you didn't even notice it yourself. Deep down, you wanted me to leave, didn't you? We were co-conspirators in the parting. Haven't you realized it, Vela? It is the convolus, not me, that is truly your daughter. You discovered it and trusted the Sarkaz's future to it, and built it with pavilions and boats, fruits and cakes. Your love for it grew as time passed. There are two reasons why you brought me back to the convolus. make amends for the price you paid for it, and to verify whether it's grown the way you hoped it would. My departure brought relief because the one who could expose the fragile lie that ties the accomplice together left. But my departure also brought anguish because it proved that the valley could not carry the burden you hoped it would, even after 200 years. It was too fragile to accept a child who grew up in Kazdel, much less become the future abode of all Sarkaz. Nasty don't. You know the answer, Vela? You left the accomplice, came here, emerged with this tree which is like the roosting tree yet different. Did you do it for me, for yourself, or simply out of obsession? What are you running from, Vela? Are you running from death, from the future, from the failure of the convalesce, or from the fact that you are dying and there is nothing else you can do for the convalesce's future? Tell me, help me understand and put an end to this error. Oh, thank God, finally, a break.
次はちょっと言いにくいんだ。あなたの訃報を聞くのは誰なのか考えたことある？
つまらないな。ガーロ、カエサル、さっさと片付けちゃって。オリジナルカクテル、シビルタクラシック。想像したことある？友も故郷も二度と戻らなくなることを。どうか私を信じて。
Yeah, that's who I kind of figured the enemy would be at this point.
私の名前をすべてのオリジニウムに刻んでやるわよ。命令をどうか。
I love that.
私を信じて。
悪い知らせがある。
どうか私を信じて。ま、チャーシューアップルパイ。どうぞ機能喪失確認。
Oh. Alright. Well, we're out of ground now. That's cool. Rip the veil up. Wait, the enemies still sit there? That's crazy. Oh. No, it's tree guys! Anything but the trees.
リーダー、真っ先に呼んでくれるって信じてたよ。
頬を撫でる薄着に命運の帳だ。
ちょっとザ・オリジナルカクテルデザルトスペシャル。
リーダー、ベルスディオボーレット。狙撃1機能喪失 確認。
Mission accomplished.
Oh, okay. Back to reading. That was a nice break while it lasted. No sudden moves. You know, I'm sure we can talk about this like reasonable people. All the riders are here. Put them in the lower level jail. We'll hand them out to the courts when we arrive in DC. It's almost time. Double check your parachutes unless you want to end up in a puddle. What, did someone press the detonate button early? Impossible. We're less than a kilometer from the district. Wait, government buildings are getting smaller. We're moving away from the capital? Looks like events are moving faster than your plans can catch up, aren't they? You never intended to stop the explosion. You're just stalling for time for the plate to turn? Do you think we had the means to go toe-to-toe with well-trained units? Events, move faster now. Move faster than the plans can... Events moving faster than the plans can catch up. Change of plans. Lower level, evacuate by the planned routes. Upper level, protect the civilians around you, prepare to parachute. Point 0, detonate. What's going on? The broadcast has gone dark. Are the screens outside getting a signal? You're still thinking about the broadcast? Didn't you hear the Emergency Management Council's evacuation warning? A serious accident has occurred in the levitation layer. All floating facilities will fall from the sky in less than 10 minutes. Hurry up and get yourself to the emergency shelters. Fall from the sky? Oakley looks up to see hundreds of floating pods turn into fireballs in the sky, marring the clear skies with smoke and ash. Without the gentle touch of sunlight, the cloud-like pods turn back into chunks of metal, crashing down on the lower level. Look out. That was a close call, thanks. You're a tester? Which company? I don't remember you. Now is not the time for introductions, Oakley. The streets are exposed, you risk getting hit by falling debris. You should go into an emergency shelter quickly. Alright. Falling. Tumbling down. Byrne's heart is beating so hard she feels like it might escape her ribcage at any moment. She tries her best to control her breathing. The straps on the sides of the helmet slap her face, inflicting just enough pain to fend off the fear of falling. In an instant, the signal from the detonator travels through the connected conduits, igniting all the floating facilities at the same time. Byrne leaves from platform 7 before it loses all power. Holy fuck. The falling pod streaks past Byrne like a black meteor. The bright colored paint is burned off the advertisements, and the melted cables flail in the air, giving off a bitter smell of tar. The whole levitation layer sways meekly in the air like a deflated balloon. Lucky Sissy Beast, one boot, Peachbrella. Fern watches these companies' logos fall together with her. Now that is a scene that rivals the sunset in the bleach wasteland, she thinks. Pull the parachute, Fern. Oops, almost forgot. The updraft lifts the feline, slender frame. The parachute come together to form a massive cloud. Did we do it? The people on the ground don't know what's happening. It must be a shock for them to see their investments and products turn to ash. They're safe at least. The pieces of the levitation layer would have fallen on top of their heads if the plate didn't turn around. Besides, they'll never find out that they were scheming and plotting to stop them from dreaming. Where do we go next? You could certainly go back to Northville to see your wife. Sure. What about after that? After that? Let's talk about that when we get back to standing on terra firma and looking up at the sky. The light of burning fire illuminates the people's faces, but there is little regret in their hearts as they gaze upon PP, now beyond recognition. The remains of PP are scattered across the barren lands between the district of the plain, like gifts that have been returned. Fern closes her eyes in relaxation as she comes back down to Earth with Paradise. The elderly banshee said her kin were like broken kites as they fell during the sky in that war from 200 years ago. Now, though, she is like a kite that has too many strings attached, the branches and roots tugging at her as she floats in midair. A kite nothing could ever ruin as she had wished. The roosting tree, that was the name I gave it. I built huts beneath it and made it the abode of every banshee. But all I felt was fear when Locker Moline brought me to its roots. It was like a great void that could not be illuminated by the moons. By candles or by fireflies, it was still and silent, sucking away my memory a little bit at a time. I could smell decay in the darkness, decay that we could not reverse. Not even the children of soil and stone could. It was a constant reminder of how pathetic the convalescence was. At the end, Lady Teresa and Lord Teresa's found a future for the Sarkaz through war and death. Meanwhile, Aphaniel continues to seek a new future for the Banshees. But me and my valley, it is nothing more than a failed sanctuary, quietly awaits death. There's nothing more I can do for it. So you ran away from the roosting tree, ran away from death. Why here, though? Everywhere outside the complex was the same, gray and chaotic, impossible to navigate. There's only one path that I remembered, those unfamiliar names that you said. Lithanian, Laterano, Columbia. I followed the names, followed your scent, not knowing to what end the path led or what I would do there. I just didn't want the tree to turn me into an empty husk. But you chose to go into another tree. I was filled with sorrow when I saw that you planted another roosting tree here. When I felt the spread of decay, I thought you were going to repeat our mistakes. Even if we couldn't save the convalescent's roosting tree, I wanted to do something for this one. Even if all I could do was stay its decay and save you from sorrow for a while. But when I saw it with my own eyes, I realized there's nothing I could do for it, but it could save me. The roosting tree only takes memories, but this one shares. It shares the story of the convalescence and of your journey. It makes me feel that I'm alive. I'm sorry, Nasty. I had fused with the tree before I stopped the path from collapsing. Once again, I deceived you. That's why you're so lucid. That's why the tree rejects my incantations. You rewrote its grammar and changed its operating logic. It keeps you alive, but you keep it running, even though neither of you are what you used to be. You're like a program that relies on a bug to keep running. Bug? Program? Like a withered tree that relies on a parasitic vine to remain standing. It's not so bad, is it? If this can keep it from withering, then I've finally done something useful for you. For the Banshees. For Sarkaz. I can bring it back to the Convolus. Bring you back. That would be pointless. Why is the tree not responding to me? That means it's working. The outer casing of the device Nasty is carrying on her belt falls away with a crack. Paper tapes pour out, laying themselves out around her as much though following an invisible blueprint, forming an elaborate and organized framework. The tapes are filled with tiny holes that represent incantations coming together to build Nasty's unique language and safeguard her unique rules, rejecting the anarchic spread of the branches. I said I must understand, therefore I can put an end to this error. Now I do. Nasty raises her pen and writes down a function and incantation. Reconstruct. No, the memories of the tree shared with me, they're disappearing. Nasty, what are you doing? Wiping the preloaded data in the tree. After that, it had shared with you was only temporary data for experimentation. I know that you don't want to forget, but what you truly want to remember and retain are not these hodgepodge data put together for experiments. Even if it's so, please don't make the last thing I see be the sight of you destroying your life's work. You've walked such a long road and suffered so much for it. To you, the Convolus was your life's work, but I've never had one. I have a goal. This tree is the means to it. My judgment of it is not based on how much I committed to it, only whether it can achieve my goal. You hope that fusing with it would keep it from withering, but not withering won't make it any more useful. Just like the roosting tree of the Convolus. I don't want to be cruel, but the roosting tree never truly consoled the dying. It is no more than a simple Phoebe tree, bent under the weight of incantations. It's native to the genus Bebopsis in the name of Argonglis Simacorbilla. The wood is commonly used for buildings in Southeast Terra. I had an elf colleague verify its nature after I joined Rhine Lab. It became the roosting tree of the Convolus because you saw it as a symbol and mourned its change. It is withered because it has reached the end of its natural lifespan. That is all. Even the colors that ran through its branches is merely the result of exposure to incantations over the years. I don't remember how it used to look anymore. But Nasty, if it's truly so, why does your tree look so much like the roosting tree? Because it reminds me of you. Just as you think of me. Do you know why I planted this tree? I remember the day we parted. You were calling to me, but I didn't turn back because some words can no longer be said once you see the other person's face. But I couldn't help but look at your face reflected in the water. I wanted to remember how you looked. Yo, nice. New tears flow across the lines made by old ones, as though it was a fixture on your face. I spent more than a decade with you in the convalesce. I never saw you without tear marks on your face. Life in the valley was good. I'd have chosen the convalesce over Kazdel every time, 100 times over, but Vela. Was there a single moment that you weren't in pain over the course of your 200 years in the convalesce? At first I thought I could wipe away your tears and make you smile with simple methods. You spent a whole day wiping my face with mist apple pulp. It was only later that I learned why you were in pain. The source of your pain was a decision, a lie. The kin who suffer because they defied their nature. The kindred who could not return to the myriad souls because there was no one to deliver them. They were the source of your pain. To solve your problem, I must solve the problems of the banshees, the problems of the sarkaz. The answer lies outside of Convalesce, outside of Kazdan, a place I don't know. As I indulge in such fantasies, I saw you and I sail in the sky, the reflected sky. It was a calm, windless day, but suddenly the water rippled without warning, wiping away the eternal tear marks on your face. You almost looked like you were smiling. And so I began to think about the sky whenever I thought about how to make you smile. Perhaps the sky is where we can find our sanctuary, our abode for our souls. The Sarkaz's promised land could be in the sky. All the things you did, this tree in the sky, that's where it all began. Having access camera image, or access, yeah, camera image. Falling like a broken kite. Looks like Maylander successfully carried out their plan. The entire capital will bear witness to the fall of Propeller Paradise. But the tremors come from the ground plate. Did Gordon, will we fall too? Not sure. I've undone the fusion and reset the tree, restoring it to an operable state. But the tree itself is not yet complete. At least save yourself, Nasty. 3 years ago, Afanil added a condition to my hypothesis when he delivered the Myriad Souls. 2 years ago, a friend split the sky and showed me the path to the future. I'm still one step away from the answer. What is to come will depend on whether we find it. We're in the sky, but I don't see the answer. Everything has fallen. The sky is empty. Yes, the sky has always been empty. It is we who must fill it. For you, Vela, I don't think the answer is in the sky. It's in you. I can hear the roars, the hatred, the cries that surround you. The kin I delivered or failed to deliver, vampires, Nox, Dodge, and banshees. I've wiped all the preloaded temporary experiment data from the tree. It's your own frustration, rage, and sorrow that binds you now, like every banshee that you sent away the last 200 years, like every sarkaz that returned to the myriad souls since the beginning of time. That is why our people are made empty by painful oblivion. That is why the myriad souls are always roaring, always hungry, always wailing. But if we leave behind residues of information and death, and the myriad souls are merely the collective of such residues. Why shouldn't it be joy and song that remains? Does our nature prevent it? No. To process residues of information, build a server, it converges on the ground. If converge on the ground, if coverage on the ground, oh my god, isn't enough, raise it into the sky. Not just a sanctuary for the living, the tree will become an abode for the departed as well. This time, however, we decide what we leave behind. Perhaps it wasn't function that the tree was missing. It was a command, a decision, a sincere wish. Tell me the answer, Vela. What is it that you truly want to leave behind? The tree, I will preserve that memory for you. Oblivion will never claim what you want to leave behind. I don't know. You don't know. At first, I just wanted to save our kin from pain, from anger, from sorrow. I no longer know how that can be achieved. If neither the convalesce nor the roosting tree can accomplish it, is there any meaning in leaving anything behind? Vela. Nasty wants to do something, say something, but no sound comes out from her lips. She's normally not one to deal with hypotheticals, but she could not help but think, if she finished the tree and took her people to the sanctuary in the sky sooner, would her mother have had a comforting memory to cling to? Hundreds of pods fall burning from the sky like black meteors, like heavy raindrops, like broken kites. Mother and daughter gaze at each other silently, as they hoped it would make this moment an eternity. No. You were never one to stop walking, Nasty. Once you decide on a path, you'll see it through to the end. Don't stop now. Don't let me take away the meaning of what you've accomplished. My life may have had no meaning, but there must be some meaning to all that you've done. If this tree is the new abode for the souls of the Sarkaz, then let me be its first denizen. I gave you a home 20 years ago, now you've given me one. When the children stand around the tree to listen to its voice, I want it to be your laughter that they hear, not your weeping. And I want to remember your smile when I think of you. Nasty, my dear child. I've had good memories, memories that made me smile. I remember, it was... She cannot finish the sentence. Half a year has passed since she realized that she was beginning to forget and fled her hut under the roosting tree, following Nasty's trail all the way to Columbia. A journey far too long for a dying banshee. It was not the reunion that she had hoped for, but as the obsession that carried her to this point falls apart, death has finally caught up to her. Countless scenes fade from Vela's memories and become vivid before Nasty's eyes. The banshee's oar lies still in her hands. She hears the lament. The king who painted the same dream with her has passed in a faraway place that she cannot see. The banshee stands still beneath the roosting tree. She spent 3 months witnessing her kin fall victim to oblivion and became an empty husk. The price they paid for her lies, and there was nothing she could do about it. The banshee kneels still on the floor of a dilapidated house. He promised to deliver a gargoyle who helped her in the past, and all that was left was the tip of a petrified tail. The banshee's sorrow and regrets are infinite, flowing past Nasty like a river without end. After all these memories have faded, there is one last thing that is left, one tiny brief fragment. The banshee is putting a child to bed, a girl whom she brought back to the convalesce. Her eyes are filled with fatigue as she looks at her old friend. All she would talk about is how lovely the child is. She used to be a child once. She opens her eyes and sees this land for the first time. She does not know whether it is good or bad. But Nasty can see that she is smiling. Time passes through the Banshee like the wind across the surface of Mist Lake, leaving nothing behind. Bela fades away into the sky. A leaf gently drifts down. I'll catch you and remember you, Mother. Nasty catches the leaf gently as her mother once picked a leaf from the tree for her. One does not need a bone whistle to accompany a smile. After a long silence, she blows a tune with the leaf. Like threads, the notes weave the gentlest incantations that she has ever weaved. Be at peace. I'd like to make a bet with you, Miss Wilson. How many sky stocks do you think young Pavar, that honest and serious secretary of mine, will go and buy once he delivers the balloons? 0. The end of the line, that stock exchange was 2 blocks away when I came. The last time I saw this level of excitement in the district was when the Department of Defense decided to send troops to Bolivar. I still have one of those cactus hats in my office. People went into the streets wearing those hats, shouting slogans and turning the veins of DC green. I haven't seen those hats in a long time. No one wants their taxes turned into guns, not since Robert McKesson and his feat of saving Bolivar from the Bolivarians became the butt of evening radio's jokes. Everyone wears a propeller on their heads now. A blue propeller hat that spins. It's awfully noisy, to tell the truth. I hear there's a new version that automatically plays that rock song every Colombian knows when the propeller spins. I grew up listening to Terra Bless Us and Cityway 666. I once thought that the song of our time would be Goodnight Arc 01. Turns out it would be Goodnight Kristen Wright. The obsession that Colombians have with the future will never change. The one they're following seems to have changed while we weren't looking. Kristen never intended to become an idol. The DoD never intended to become a joke. It never occurred to any of us when we raised a glass to the failure of the DoD that it wouldn't be just the DoD who loses credibility. The people listening to late night radio over a pot of mac and cheese don't differentiate between the DoD, Congress, or the cabinet, after all. As you said yourself, these days, the masses seem more willing to take inspiration from a legend or a miracle. Sometimes, however, we need to turn their gaze back to the soil that nurtures miracles. Back to Colombia. Bro, we still have a whole nother thing after this. Fuck, bro. Finally, we lay our eyes on Propeller Paradise. Not a day has gone by, we don't think about it ever since that fateful night 2 years ago. The synchronized aerial turn that we just witnessed is a testament to the skill of our test pilots even in times of peace. Now, PP reveals its miracles to us, this wonderful spectacle of the Colombian dream, demonstrating that, declaring that, silence. Every media outlet, every channel, voices rich or coarse or sharp or warm, all fall silent at the same time. The entrepreneurs and investors on the streets, along with thousands upon thousands of ordinary people, fall silent too. For a few minutes, the only sound in Max DC is the sound of their propeller hats. The rustling sound they make, like falling leaves, is the only accompaniment to the spectacular disaster witnessed by millions in the capital. Turn their gazes back to the soil that nurtures miracle. Back to Colombia. A terrorist attack. A premeditated act of war. Act of terror. Investigators confirm That explosion was caused by a batch of arts weapons smuggled and disguised as general parts. The weapons can be traced to numerous Centrum nations, including Kazmir's, which has long since abandoned the ways of chivalry, and Lithanian, the ancient nation of casters, have used their despicable tricks against us. Voices of Progress fall silent today. It is the darkest day in Colombia's 80 years of history. The nation is waiting for me to speak. I should tell them they have destroyed even more than just an exhibition. They have destroyed the hopes and dreams that every Colombian entrusted to it. I should tell them this shameless, heinous act was committed by those who envy our splendor, trying to make our people timid and afraid. I should tell them, but they're doomed to fail. Colombia will never be defeated. No conspiracy can stop the lamp and star from shining bright in the west. And then Colombians will eagerly turn their taxes into guns again. Everything that they fervently devoted to propeller paradise, all those sky stalks and the spinning propeller hats will turn into shields and swords. When the smoke clears, the empty sky will be more inflammatory than any speech. The winds on the wilderness of Colombia have never stopped, mercilessly blowing away the smoke and cloud that surrounded propeller paradise. The sky feels even emptier than before. After all, things bright and beautiful have fallen, but it's not entirely empty. And is the soot playing tricks on my eyes? I see as well as you do, Mr. Vice President, as do millions of people here in DC. Floating platforms supported by complicated systems of massive hot air balloons and propellers have fallen. Floating labs of many shapes and sizes have fallen. The ropeway system that connected the ropeway system that connected the levitation layer has fallen, along with hundreds of pods. The saucer-shaped tower that linked the ground and the sky had fallen, along with the elevator that it supports. Only one thing rises through the clouds into the bright skies of Colombia. Message from Maylander, sir. PP has stopped moving toward the capital, is now headed for the southeastern border, accelerating. Maylander believes they are trying to escape Colombia, which would be an act of treason. Mechanized units on the border are moving to cut off PP's potential routes. More importantly, the unknown object in the sky has already been locked on by our defensive artillery deployed along the district's route. With your speech about to begin, they want to hear how you define it. The Department of Defense recommends opening fire immediately and sticking with the current narrative. Maylander has raised the possibility of conveying a different message through the survival of this facility. They have also noted the risk of doing so. The facility was created by Ryan Lab, after all. Before they do anything, I would like to get a good look at this thing myself. A tree. A tree. Ryan certainly has style, doesn't it? A tree-shaped facility. You know what it is? I have no idea. I suppose I'm just here to lighten the mood while you vent about Ryan. Well, it doesn't matter. What it is will soon stop mattering to the people, just like the balloon that couldn't fly. In the DoD's game, it will become an infant slaughtered by knights, an envoy killed by the Witch King. Its fall will drive the rise of the people's wrath. And Maylander's proposal will become the next symbol of the Colombian spirit, its silhouette printed on every hat that leaves the factory to the next decade. Is that so? All I see is a tree. You should see those foul beasts brushing their feathers and honing their beaks. They've accepted that it's a tree that they can roost on. A tree rising from the wounds of Colombia. How should people understand it? They don't have to. Just as you don't have to understand the mobile mining platform on the wilderness that you skipped classes to watch when you were young. Did you know that if it was carrying a group of ambitious pioneers or desperate debtors, did it return with a full load of riches, or was it simply drifting aimlessly? All I know is that I really didn't want to take a test that day, and the mining platform happened to be chasing the setting sun. A mining platform chasing the setting sun in a flying tree. They're not so different, are they? What is your position, Mr. Vice President? I'm the VP of the Colombian Union. With this position comes responsibility. I can't skip classes to watch a mining platform, chase the setting sun like I used to. Still, that was indeed what made me feel something about the soil of Colombia for the first time. If the sky is the soil that nurtures the future of Colombia, I'm sure there's enough room in it for a flying tree.
廃墟で頭を上げようと必死な野草の姿をあなたが見せてくれた。ありがとう。
Holy fuck, bro, there's still a whole other node. Oh my god. Alright. Flight resumption. A most remarkable speech, Mr. Vice President. People were moved to tears even in the Rhine Lounge. I didn't think I would move the most eccentric, most maverick scientist of Colombia. But I've received enough flowers, banners, and strongly worded letters of support and soldier figures painted in my likeness over the last few hours. Not from Rhine. For the better, I suppose. Let's get back to the topic at hand. How should we define that tree floating in the sky from a scientific perspective? You really want to know the scientific principles behind it, I could spend the whole afternoon explaining how its roots will spread across the land and its branches and leaves across the sky. From a scientific perspective, however, all you need to know is that when it's fully grown, it'll be able to collect energy information from all across Colombia and process it centrally. You mean an energy well like the shaft, but on a national scale? And a server too, bidirectional to boot. The roots and branches go both ways, not only from the ground to the sky, but also from the sky to the ground. Haha. No need to force yourself to understand these things. You can zone out the way you did when you visit our tree mounts headquarters. It was your words that saved the tree when dozens of guns from the Department of Defense and hundreds of cameras from Mainlander Meteor were pointed at it. Miss Wilson's words truly tugged at the heartstrings. Even an old man like me couldn't help but think back to the wild days of youth. I see. And there I was, thinking that was because you didn't want to give away the chance to define this tree to Mainlander or the DoD. An exhibition, a speech, sky fever, and patriotism have made you the overwhelming darling of public opinion over the other candidates in the span of just a few hours. Have you thought about the future you would need to paint in order to not let your supporters down? Or was it always your plan to improvise your speech? You know about the understanding between Kristen and the Department of Defense. Kristen would build ARC-01 and it was none of Ryan's business who the DoD used it against. Since I already have the authority to define this tree, I don't suppose it would have broken through the star pod before everyone's eyes if I didn't discuss with Ryan when defining it. Of course you don't have to discuss with anyone, be it Nasty, myself, the generals, the lawmakers, or that plushie on your shoulder. I take back what I said about you when I was chatting with my secretary. What do you mean? You're easier to deal with than Kristen. State your demands. Lift the lockdown on PP and allow the escape plate to return to the capital's route for repairs. As to those involved in the incident, escape, that's not how DC will define what has happened. Researchers who stand on the front lines of Colombian science would never flee in the face of foreign sabotage, would they? What else? Lift the lockdown on Rhine Lab. You know what I'm talking about. You and I should hold an official meeting as soon as possible. You can't ask the government to undo something we haven't done. We've only ever been curious. What can Rhine Lab do? Seriously, is no one sleeping tonight? I should have held some wilderness tours. Some night wilderness tours. Hey, you just wouldn't stay still, would you? Even when the plate's broken down. I could say the same about you. You look like a clerk, gazing blankly at the sky outside after coming back from vacation. Well, I was scared, but also excited when we started fighting the Mainlander people. You almost scared me when you tried to bite that agent's finger off. I'm not really an emotional guy. The last time I was so excited was when I got approved for that Sky loan. The loan shark was showing off levitating devices at the entrance to the local bar. There's so many people watching that they broke the fence. In the end, it wasn't education or economic circumstances that decided who got the loan, but who could fly a drone the highest and furthest. Which was how you ended up being the sucker who got scammed into it. That night, I stupidly bragged to my wife, showing off the finger I used to move the control stick and win a chance for the future. It was only a few days later that you realized there was no battery in the controller at all. Yeah, I should never trust myself when blood gets into my head. But you still charged the blockade with us without a second thought, didn't you? Yeah. Now we're like sissy beasts to the slaughter in the wilderness, waiting for the government to decide our future. Feel like an onion thrown into a washing machine, getting layers after layers peeled off in these tides of fevers. Do you want to escape the washing machine, or do you want to be more than a powerless onion? A few years ago, I had an idea while going into the bleach wasteland for the third time. If I sneaked inside with a truckload of pure gold ore and took it through the border checkpoint in broad daylight, Colombians would forget all the terrifying legends in the blink of an eye and begin another great expansion. It wouldn't be much different from what we're going through. Even if it began with a bored tour guide, rather than a scientist who split the sky, even if it was a hoax rather than a milestone, we always try to see new possibilities inside the door marked impossible, to escape the laws of common sense that seem to have no end, to go somewhere else and live a different life. You and me, the hundreds of PP testers, even that Rhine research assistant, Sky, we're all the same. The onion can't get out of the washing machine. But we can remember why we chose to go inside. If the government doesn't hang us for all for treason tonight, I want to stay on PP, run Sissy Beast, and pay my debts. Can you deliver a letter to my wife? I don't really trust regular messengers. Would you like to join Fern's tours? I could deliver you. Bro, who cares about those people? I can't do the accent anymore, my voice is dying. I don't believe it, there can't be a single scientist on Terra like you. How did you meet Gustav? Did you know about this and his and Mainlander's plan? Shannon never actually got to teach him a lesson. The old fox ran off with Mainlander's people after the levitation layer fell. He was taken away in handcuffs. Handcuffs? Ah, he wanted me to take the fall for PP, but he's the one who ended up going down. Good. You've been sitting here the whole day with those pliers and hammers. What are you studying? I'm preparing for a journey. The Karanta gestures to the bottom of his shoes. Only then does Gordon realize that the sound that the Karanta makes when walking does not come from shoes. A piece of crescent-shaped metal nailed to your feet, doesn't it hurt? No, feet are more trustworthy than shoes in treacherous terrain, such as the swamps of Sargon, the ice fields of Sami, and the barrens of Columbia. So you don't plan on hiding your identity from me? My role is insignificant in this entire event. I simply came to help a friend and made a new friend along the way. I do so hate free spirits. You have enough experience to be my travel companion, but you won't do it. ATA is going to be purged after this incident. Why should I not go back when the old fox no longer has any influence? Besides, you recognized everything in my collection room. I'll always be inferior to you if I traveled with you. I'll make good use of all ATAO resources available to me. You won't recognize 5-4 the next time you see him. See it. I look forward to it. Is there any place you haven't been, like beyond the star pod, I guess? There are many paths that no one has trodden before. If there indeed comes a day when humanity stands among the clouds, I will continue to cast my gaze to the land. I saw you coming this time, Mercia. It's weird to see you not burying your head in work. Are you waiting for someone? What about you? Your colleagues already pulled out of PP before the sun had set. Another rule of secretaries? You have to be the last one to leave? Just ran into a bit of trouble when packing. Cover. Oh, thank you. I was wondering how I would get them down there. Yeah, you chose the most scenic route. One that would take you around the tree. I wanted to see the final resting place of Vela, your mother. Her epitaph is the leaves that grow upon it. Look up on your way out. She might have the wind carry one to you if she still remembers you. You're not angry that I used Vela to complete Maylander's mission? You also defy Maylander's orders in order to help her. If it's the prison that you go from here, I would not consider it a shining example of Colombian justice. No need to worry about that. Tin Man once decorated himself with drone parts that Mr. Celine discarded. Usefulness is not the only standard that he uses to judge. And this little rebellion won't be either. Oh, I think that's the one you were waiting for. I'll take my leave then. Give me the parameters, Sky. Transmission complete, nothing out of the ordinary. The tree is in great shape. But you already know that, don't you? Just making sure the battle didn't wreck your brain. First thing I learned on the streets of Tree Mountains was how to fight. I wouldn't be here at Rhine if a fight or two could wreck my brain. Until I come back, you're in charge of the tree's regular maintenance, any derivative projects, and all our staff, workers, and testers, and PP. I need you on top of your game. I got the projects, but the workers and testers, they've been asking what you like. They wanted to give you a token of their appreciation before you leave. They stayed because of you, Director Lunnery. What did you tell them? I don't know. I have no idea what you like, other than our work. Take a Star Pod Wars stamp to Pit tomorrow. He'll tell you everyone's personality and interests. Star Pod Wars bog. Director. The first thing I learned on the Barren Lands was how to deal with people. What do you like then? It's not hard to find out. It's time to go. I'll leave the tree in your hands. Huh? What about the one you were waiting for? He's used to traveling alone. He's probably already left. But we're in the Barren Lands. He'll find a way. Hey, stop. This is Rhine Lab HQ. Visitors need to register over there. I noticed you the moment you walked in. Hard not to, given the clatter you make when walking. Did you just come back from the Barren Lands or something? At least change your clothes if you want to steal company secrets. Oh, it's the horse dude. What the? Director level access? Who are you? I'm sorry, I'll take you upstairs now. The others are waiting for you in the conference room. Thank you. That's the gist of it. The rest of the details are on the slide. Propeller Paradise has docked with max DC. The district will now proceed to perform repairs and take inventory. Hundreds of tech firms, more than 1,000 research projects on the sky and flight, and some 20 to 30,000 people. It could take months to complete. Fortunately, Saria's negotiation with Jackson was a success, and the Rhine engineering section will be able to focus on their work at PP. Sky Jagger is in charge until I get back. He's matured a lot. Wow, you're actually developing the new guys. Good work, Nasty. Thanks for your help. I would thank you even more if you deleted the photos where you make faces with my appearance. No, I don't think so. Say, aren't you gonna tell me about your mom? No. Something's different about you. Not sure what exactly, but in a good way. Nasty. Alright. I cried. I came to terms with a few things and strengthened my resolve with a few things, that's all. I didn't leave my lab to watch your little teate. You've been a little too committed to science lately, Ferdinand. I'm almost starting to miss the days when you were scheming left and right to take over the company. Why do you think I'm not doing that? I'll ask you to recall that it was my breakthroughs in high-energy physics that have kept all our sections afloat these past 2 years, ladies. Yeah, sure. Thank you for your help. I'm guessing Dorothy didn't come to the meeting because she didn't want to hear you gloat? She went back to Site 359 right after the inquiry. She said she had a few dreams. Girl never looks forward. Wait, what? Sorry. Sorry. Nasty's already sent the experiment results concerning the tree to my mailbox. We're not only here to discuss the PP matter, are we? Of course not. Then who are we waiting for? Perhaps you might be interested in seeing data from the Infi Iceland? You're back, Miriam. Finally. Sorry, it's been a long time since I've been in Colombia. Took me some time to fit my hoof irons. Broke them in on the walk from DC to Treemounts. I'm glad I didn't wait for you on PP. Had a car that could have taken both of us back to Rhine together. You know I never considered that at all. Someone obsessed with searching for death in every corner of Terra would be used to working alone, I figured. It takes 2 people with direct level access to activate the core unit of that tree. I'd wondered who Saria sent to help Nasty. The legend is already a pile of bones in the wilderness. The media questions if the director of Rhine's scientific investigation section even exists. There's definitely no better choice, but... You want to know who arranged it? Justin Jr. He had some investments in Kepat. No sooner than I left the Infi Iceland than he got in touch. He told me to go to Colombia and straight to DC. I got Gustav's invitation soon after. Justin Jr. had obviously, let's just say, pulled a few strings. Then why did I come back to Rhine? I found a fragment of that spherical superstructure in the depth of the icy Infi Iceland, where the rootless flowers bloomed the brightest. You guessed it? Yes, it's a structure that Kristen's files mentioned. She said people in the old times called it the Stargate. I'm sure Sarah will share the information with you soon. Any more questions, Ferdinand? I thought not. Nothing's changed about how you ask and answer your own questions, Miriam. You've left Ferdinand with nothing left to say. Alright, looks like everyone's here. This meeting is rather overdue. For the past 2 years, all of mainstream Colombian media and the tech tabloids have made the same judgment. The gap where Stellaria disappeared is a scar upon the Star Pod and a scar upon Rhine. They've even come up with a whole narrative on the cancellation of Rhine's end-of-year cocktail party. We were all busy, that's all. Yes, but now we finally have some time. The joint project between engineering and ecological had some unexpected twists and turns, but the final result was a smashing success. Nasty, you're now holding the key to a brand new domain. If we can keep it in our hands. Miriam's discovery in the Infi ice field has proven beyond all doubt that those strange tales that Kristen collected are indeed based on actual fact. Perhaps it will help us rebuild dialogue with the old era. Emil Sees has brought back data from our observation station, Karag. Data that's very interesting, or very dangerous. I'm sure you've heard about the events in Bolivar. 20 science teams have gone missing in the Black Flow. Explorers and schemers will be excited if there are any developments with that swamp. Rhine should act too, Saria. Magellan is already on her way. The events and phenomena that have unfolded since Kristen's incident indicate that the most well-hidden secrets of Terra all lead to the same answer. It will tell us the reason for Terra's existence and whether it is a disaster or a brave new world waiting for us in the future. Rhine Lab has already made preparations, but that alone is not enough. We must respond to the fear of the unknown and go boldly where no one has gone before. What you said was absolutely correct, Nasty. However, Rhine Lab must be the one to turn that key. Whoa. Of course we'll have a make-up cocktail party. What's this, Justin Jr.? A newspaper sample. I'd like you to think of the title for this article here before it goes to print. Are these scientists gathered to mourn the end of sky fever? Or preparing to usher in a tide of new changes? You sent a screenshot of your communications with your colleagues to the Savior? More appropriate to put it as a DoD-aligned newspaper getting its hands on certain documents that could not be obtained by official means. I heard your control has already reached an understanding with Jackson concerning PP. Not too thrilled about it, are you? But it won't stop me from making another deal with you. You understand that in the aftermath of the Horizon Art Project, Ryan Labs' credibility with the DoD has become roughly the equivalent of Mama John's scratch-off lottery tickets garbage. Which is why I only came to you after Saria reached an understanding with Jackson. In the aftermath of the setback in Bolivar, the failure of the Horizon Arc Project, and the Propeller Paradise incident, the Department of Defense's credibility with President Mark Max has become, well, I suppose I should spare you the proverbs. I don't know what exactly our scientists are planning, but I know the value they can create. In this, I'm sure we're in agreement. I'm a businessman and my priority is Ryan's business interests. Sounds like I have no reason to refuse. It's a pleasure doing business with you. To be frank with you, I didn't think much of you when Blake recommended you. I'm sure you remember my life story that I just shared, which is a fairly interesting one if I do say so myself. All you need to do is think something of fate. As for your attitude toward the one who controls its pulse, that's rarely in your hands. There's no way it ends talking to a question mark person. That's fucking hooked, brother. Huh, interesting. Well, classic Arknight story. The end was good. Kind of the stuff beforehand was kind of ass, but it's okay. My voice is fucking shocked. Summary angle? Yes. My voice is shot. I'm gonna go rest it. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow for E33. Yeah, big stream tomorrow. Can't wait to see everyone. Alright, have a good night, everyone. Good night. Just gonna do a quick outro. Catch you later. Thanks for hanging out. And as always, a peace on my peeps. Good night, good night.